Aloha Pumehana Kako. The April 23rd, 2025 Neighborhood Board number 34 meeting is called to order. Welcome to our Makakilo Kapolei Honokai Hale Community Forum. My name is Anthony Makata Paris, and I serve as your board chair. We are holding a hybrid meeting and have community members online via WebEx and in person at Kapolei Hale. Order and decorum. If you wish to speak, please raise your virtual hand or your actual hand. And for those live and in person, we ask that you come and use one of the mics. If I missed any of the hands, in person or online, any one of these fine gentlemen or ladies to my left or my right will get my attention and make sure I call on you. Speakers have 3 minutes to comment on any item. Those giving reports this evening may take up to 10 minutes. And the bus and the Department of Transportation will have up to 15 minutes for their dual presentations this evening. Please remember to silence any and all electronic devices, keep yourself muted, and not talking when you're on WebEx. Please remember to state your name for the record before sharing any comment, question, or testimony. This is our community forum, so everyone is asked to engage with the spirit of aloha. Be free to vigorously debate any of the agenda items. Remember to treat each other with respect, especially when you're passionately advocating. And let's honor each other by keeping to the allotted times for speaking and collectively finish our forum in a timely manner. So are there any questions on procedure before we get going? With that, please call the roll.
Roll call. Bosler. Dudley. Walking in. Ferreira. Pahele. Khan.
Here.
Lidstone. Singleton.
Here.
Online. Ha'ala.
Yes.
Ew, online.
Online. Paris. Chair, you have quorum with 9 members.
Mahalo. With that, we invite up Honolulu Fire Department to provide their report.
Good evening. My name is Firefighter 3 Kyle Steinke. I'll be giving the incident statistics for March 2025. We're located at the Kapolei Fire Station behind Costco. So to start with the incident statistics for March, we had 0 structure fires, 2 wildland or brush fires, 8 nuisance fires, 0 cooking, and 13 activated alarms with no fires found. Regarding emergencies, we had 167 medicals, 1 motor vehicle collision with a pedestrian, 12 vehicle crash/collisions, 0 mountain rescues, 0 ocean rescues, and 1 hazardous materials incident. Regarding last month, we had no questions asked, so I have no other information to give. But for this month, the fire safety tip for April is evacuation planning. So the Honolulu Fire Department is recommending that you get comfortable and familiar with your area and try to designate 2 escape routes in the event of an emergency. Other things we were saying is leave early to avoid getting trapped. Don't wait till it's too late. Set up a predetermined meeting spot like a trusted neighbor or relative's home, especially if you have young ones and you're at work and you need them somewhere to go. And always have an emergency supply kit with essential items for you and your family and pets, any medication, kind of like a go bag. At this time, we'll open the floor to any questions for the Honolulu Fire Department.
Mahalo. Any questions on the reports or safety tips from board members? Any questions or comments from the community at large? Thank you, gentlemen, for your service, and ladies, we appreciate you, and have a good rest of your night.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, let's welcome up Honolulu Police Department.
Good evening, Corporal Corey Makino, District 8 Community Policing. With me, I have Sergeant Fumi Morioka and online Lieutenant Marino Correa and Corporal Roland Pagan. Okay, so the stats for March. Okay, motor vehicle thefts, 21 in the district, 9 in our area. burglaries, 9 in the district, 1 in the area. Thefts, 117 in the district, and 53 in the area. Unauthorized entry to motor vehicle, 25 in the district, 8 in the area. For traffic stats, we have 48 speeding, 547 moving violations, 100 parking violations, and total citations is 695. Total calls for the service, or total calls for service in our district, 8,104. And calls in Kapolei, 2,673. At this time, I open the floor to questions, comments, or concerns.
Mahalo for the report. Any questions from the board members? Chair recognizes Board Member McFerra.
That the numbers for burglary dropped from like 16, 12, 8, and then 1. Would that be indicative of possibly a person or persons maybe being already in jail and
Right now, it's hard to say.
not out doing their
Yeah.
thing? Is 1 is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
I was kind of noticing that. But anything lower than it was before is a good thing, and you guys are doing a great job.
thank you.
Any other questions from fellow board members? Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community at large? Mahalo for your service.
Okay, thank you.
Let's keep rolling. Let's go with Board of Water Supply. Not online today? Okay, we'll circle back. Let's now move on to Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative. Is Deputy Keith Suzuka with us?
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yep, go right ahead.
Great. Hi, good evening, Board Chair Paris and board members. Keith Suzuka, Deputy Director for the Department of Land Management. Let's start off with, as always, my first homework is the Skyline ridership summary. In the month of March, there were 102,564 riders that month on the Skyline. Secondly, I have a few announcements from the mayor. One is I just wanted to remind everyone that the Honolulu Charter Commission began its work on March 24, 2025. The Charter Commission is comprised of 13 individuals, 7 of which are selected by Mayor Blangiardi, and 6 of which are appointed by Council Chair Tommy Waters. They convene every 10 years, and they will meet until August 2026. And they will be proposed revisions to the city charter, which will go up for a ballot vote in November. The priorities of the Honolulu Charter Commission will be set forth by the members, but they will be taking proposals from a number of entities, including the Blangiardi administration, public interest groups, and Honolulu residents. So if anyone has any things that they would like to be changed in the charter, now's your time to do it. Secondly, I just wanted to remind everyone that you can sign up now for the HNL alerts. It started on April 1st, and it's a new notification system where you can subscribe and then get official alerts and information about emergencies and other important community news. It replaces the previous system known as HNL Info, and it helps you it helps the city provide registered users with critical information during situations such as severe weather, evacuations, unexpected disruptions to key services, or unplanned road closures. For example, there are 2 different ways to sign up. One is to actually set up an account. You go online to hnlalert.gov and you set up an account. And from there, you can select from a number of different options as to what you would like to be alerted on. I just did that 2 Saturdays ago. And so far, and maybe it's the things that I selected, but I haven't received any messages in particular that are different from the second option, which is you just text 888777, and that method doesn't allow you to get all types of notices, but you do get notices of severe and possibly dangerous situations. And I did get a few of those messages over the last couple of weeks relating to weather. It's, I think, an excellent system, and I would recommend everyone who has an interest to go ahead and try out the new HNL Alert system. A few more announcements. The East Kapolei TOD Special District and Zone Change Initiative started. There was a community meeting last week to discuss changes to zoning and state land use districts, as well as the expansion of the TOD Special District around the East Kapolei, West Oahu campus station and Ho'opili station. The changes are based on recommendations from the adopted East Kapolei Neighborhood TOD Plan, which included participation from the community. If you would like to get more information about the proposals, the TOD, and see the meeting materials, please visit www.honolulu.gov/TOD. Next announcement, the Kapolei Parkway parcels. I think everyone might remember earlier, I think this year, the Kobayashi development for the Kapolei Parkway Lot 6 and 7 opened. And now the city will be taking the next step towards reactivating certain underutilized parcels along Kapolei Parkway, and these would be the lots. Before it was 6 and 7, now it's going to be lots 1 through 5. They'll be transforming the city owned land into a vibrant community that supports housing, walkability, and long-term neighborhood well-being. It covers nearly 14 acres in the heart of East Kapolei. And it represents one of the city's most significant redevelopment opportunities in recent memory, with the potential to deliver up to 950 new homes. The site is centrally located in a fast-growing area and surrounded by schools, parks, healthcare facilities, and the Kualakai Station, the western terminus of the Skyline Rail system. It's making it well-suited for affordable and workforce housing. And if you have any information, please visit honolulu.gov/DLM or contact, actually, it's my department, the Department of Land Management, at 808-768-4277. Also wanted to remind everyone that the neighborhood board elections will be running from April 25th to May 16th. The members that are elected will serve from July 2025 to June 2027. And let's see, I had a couple of homework assignments, and so let me give you the responses that I was able to gather. The first one was forwarded over to the Department of Community Services, and it dealt with the HONU program. And the answer that we received from DCS is as follows. HONU serves as the only emergency shelter on the island that provides 24/7 intake. It also intentionally is designed to be mobile, with the capability of being placed in areas where there's a concentration of individuals experiencing homelessness, and serve as a mobile resource. It is aligned with the city's homeless strategy of getting those on the street to engage the system and having resources available to keep them off the streets. The annual cost to operate HONU each year is currently 2.7 million, and it services on average 580 people per year. This results in a per person cost of approximately $390 per month. Per person, yeah. The 24/7 mobile nature of the program do attribute to the operating costs of the program, but generates a return as it is leveraged against other service provider resources. Other shelters do not need to staff intake 24/7, and service providers can direct folks to HONU at all hours and concentrate their efforts when HONU is present in their community. HONU also has a good success rate in moving folks from the shelter to other locations. In Kapolei, the placement rate has been 60%. The last homework that I had was directed to the Department of DTS, and it relates to a string of requests well, it's been quite a long time, but the most recent string started in January, and the request was with respect to starting the planning and design contract to revise the EA, and even if the Federal Highway Administration will not review the EA until the project is on the tip, the Department of Transportation said that they will proceed with the EA locally until the project is ready to request federal funding. In February, there was a follow-up by DTS, which said that recently it has been taking about 7 to 12 months for the city to execute contract amendments. As such, the DTS estimates restarting the Makakilo Drive extension planning design contract in the second half of 2025. There was a request that Director Roger Morton and DTS attend the neighborhood board meeting to provide an update on how the process of the EA process is proceeding and progressing. DTS's response to the request at this point is as follows. The DTS notes that there is no update at this time. It will take more than 12 months for the city to execute the contract amendments. The DTS estimates restarting the Makakilo Drive extension planning design contract in the second half of 2026. DTS will attend the Makakilo Neighborhood Board meeting once there is an update to share on the EA. And with that, I would be happy to take back any questions or concerns that you may have.
Mahalo, Director, for the report. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from board members? Chair recognizes Vice Chair Dr. Keone Dudley.
Is this on? Okay. I want to thank you again for your very thorough work. I am continuing to be more and more concerned about the trees on Makakilo Drive. Some have very, very few leaves now. Almost every tree has one third of the leaves that they ordinarily do. Something is happening, and I think it's probably some kind of bug that is killing the trees. The city, you contacted them. I've contacted them a number of times, and I never see anybody out there doing anything. I think that it's just a super crime that those beautiful, beautiful trees all the way up and down Makakilo Drive are being allowed to die. I wish you could look into it more and see what's happening. Maybe get those guys to come and give us a report here.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the follow-up was the last time. I do know that we did track it down to the DPR, and they have the urban forest trees program, And I thought they were supposed to go out there and take a look at it. I will follow up.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns from the board for the mayor's representative? Any questions, comments, or concerns for the mayor's representative from the community at large? Okay. Chair recognizes online Belle Tuiloma.
Aloha Chair and Board, Valerie Kupia Tui Loma. I just had a quick question regarding the 60% of housed individuals, their 60% rate of housing people through HONU. Do you know or could you find out what is the recidivism percentage? So basically housed individuals or families that stay housed after 2 years.
Will do.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Chair, my name is Bev Brennan. I'm a 46-year Makakilo resident. I echo what Mr. Dudley is saying about the trees, but I have found the good news is you don't need to put any speed humps in there because the roots are taking care of that as they go underneath. I have 2 questions for the mayor's rep. First of all, this 24-hour intake system saw 560 people. I think that's what he said.
580,
it
I
cost?
believe.
560, yes?
580.
580, there, that's probably the difference. I don't understand why it costs $2 million to take care of 580 people. Money's going in the wrong place somewhere. I don't know where, but it's going in the wrong place. What was the other thing? I had it here a minute ago and the extension. Mr. Mayor, seriously? Now we're into next year, the latter half of next year? Any of you that live up in Upper Makakilo should be pissed. I live down the hill and I'm aggravated because the traffic is god awful in the morning, at night. And if we just had a small brush fire, we're in deep trouble, deep trouble. And I think the mayor needs to take that seriously. The committee here needs to get on the mayor to take it seriously. And the rest of you, let your voice be heard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mahalo. Okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Chair recognizes Board Member Mick Ferreira.
Yeah, so on that Makakilo completion, the Makakilo Drive, I met with the mayor and Mike Formsby a few months ago. And Mike Formsby was the one who kind of pushed DTS into reviving the EIS and because of the fact that it isn't being put on the tip for federal funds, he suggested that we put it on for local funds and to get it completed. This was months ago that we were supposed to have done this. And so what we were going to do is put it on for local funds and then turn around and try to lobby for federal funds, right? So we have requested the DTS and their EIS person come to this meeting and tell us what kind of progress they're making with that EIS. And the answer we got back is that they're going to work on it the middle of next year, which to me, I find that like kicking the can down the road. And I'm going to be acting and getting in contact with that office and complaining because it's just one more kick in the can down the road after another. I got on this board in 2017 thinking I'm going to get involved. I'm going to get this Makakilo completion done and da da da. It's now 2025 and I'm well past my freshness date. And I'm finding I'm running again because I don't want to like leave something undone. But I know now tomorrow what I'm going to be doing, and that's going to be contacting not only DTS, but also Mike Formsby, because he was involved way back when this started. He's intimately aware of the project, and he wasn't very happy and pushed Roger Morton kind of into a corner with saying, let's get the EIS done so we can at least move forward somewhat. So that's kind of where it's at right now. I just heard about this. And so that's all I've got. We got kind of a packed schedule today, so I thought I'd answer you on that.
Mahalo. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Okay, online we have Justin.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay. Name is Justin Smith. I live on Makahilo Drive, just south of the fire department and the Mormon church. And I had two questions, and if these aren't for you, sir, I apologize if somebody just tell me where to direct them. But one, with the number of accidents we've had on Makahilo Drive and Mayor Rick coming out at one point to see Makahilo Drive, is there any way that the city, county, state, somebody would entertain the idea of adding speed humps like they have down on Cam Highway? I saw the news where it talked about Cam Highway accidents, whatnot, have gone down since they installed those. And given the amount of accidents we have here, I think that might be something we at least look into. And my second question, sorry to take so long. The H1, they're building on that new housing on the south side of the H1. Who would we talk to, or who handles the possibility of getting the zipper lane extended? Because the number of houses that are going in there with traffic being as bad as it is, if we get the zipper lane extended out to exit 3 or 2 or more entrances into zipper lane, hopefully we get more traffic off of the H1 into the zipper lane. Thank you.
Mahalo community member, two very good points to bring up. I see Director nodding his head. He'll take it back. And I believe our board and committees will also look into both of those suggestions. We are definitely in favor of speed humps in appropriate places. Okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing that, Director, hold on just for a moment, and I beg the indulgence of the board. Without objection, I would like to move Board Business 6C, action to present. That action is requesting the mayor to include Kapolei Hale as a part of his 2025 town hall schedule. So is there any objection? Hearing none, the chair's recommendation is that we do request the mayor to come to Kapolei Hale and use these wonderful facilities where we all can get and have parking to come and talk story with us. And is there a motion? It's been moved by Dr. Balzer, second by Nick Ferrer. And at this time, I ask and open up for public input. Anyone wishing to testify? Hearing no one rising, although I see a lot of nods. I will go to discussion and going to second Vice Chair, Dr. Keone Dudley.
I guess there aren't that many people who attend these things, but usually when it's held out here in Kapolei, it's held at the high school. And that would be a bigger place than this room. And I don't know if you could get everybody into this room that would be at the meeting. And so I'd like to ask if maybe you want to change that to Kapolei High School rather than here.
Okay, the chair would ask to move on. Then the second, if we could put or Kapolei High School. The only reason why I'm saying this is because the city already informed us that they're taking these specific locations because of costs. They're using only city facilities in his entire 2025 schedule. That's what we were told. I know, but that's what we were told. So is it okay to add or Kapolei High School into the amendment? Okay, hearing none, without objection to the move on or the second, we have the motion before us is that we're requesting the mayor to include Kapolei Hale as part of his 2025 town hall schedule and or Kapolei High School. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed say a'ole. Any abstentions say kanalua. Chair calls it unanimous, and we're making the request to come to Kapolei Hale or Kapolei High School. Great.
Thank you.
With that, Director Suzuka, please ask for us. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you. I will.
Now let's go to Hawaii Department of Transportation. Any representative here with us this evening? Seeing none, let's go Uncle Frank Ganario, the board delegate to OMPO, for a report.
Yes. Two meetings of the Citizen Advisory Committee were held since the last neighborhood board meeting. The OMPO Policy Board approved a bylaws change to allow 2-year terms for CAC officers, and Kathleen Rooney and Adriel Lamb were elected chair and vice chair respectively. The March CAC approved the latest revision to the Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP, as I voted no because the Makakilo Drive completion project is not on the TIP. I also reminded the committee that March was not only the 20th anniversary of when the CAC made the drive's completion its #1 project, but was also the month of the start of revenue operations for Mitsubishi's Nagoya Magnetic Levitation Magnev rail system, which was not allowed to compete for Oahu. In April, OMPO Executive Director Mark Garrity reported that the Policy Board approved TIP Revision 3. He indicated some concern about federal funding for OMPO projects because the organization gets 80% of its funding from federal sources. Then Kiana Otsuka of OMPO briefed on a multimodal needs assessment to be completed this year. Ground transportation is the second largest portion of transportation emissions. Of trips made, 70% are within 5 miles, 60% within 3 miles, and 30% within 1 mile. Ease of use and accessibility to reach destinations, such as jobs, stores, schools, and parks, are evaluated along with vehicle miles traveled, bicycle lane plans, and pedestrian plans for 8 Oahu districts. Our district is labeled AVA. OMPO planners and CAC members seem focused on funding more bikeways and walkways, even around the island bikeways. I commented on how funding for such a small percentage of commuting will negatively impact roadway funding for the TIP. Let me add that last week I attended the community meeting on transit-oriented development around the first 3 rail stations, using that venue to make a case for completing Makakilo Drive to the H1 Kualakai interchange as a means to encourage use of the rail system, as well as to expedite trips to the Queens West Emergency Room. Mahalo.
Mahalo for the report. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the board? Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community at large? Amana, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Linda Painter, Makakilo resident. I think this is the right department that told us how they were going to change the light at Enterprise and FDR last month. And they said they had it, it was all approved, and the lights are still in the dangerous mode. I risk my life every day going home, waiting for people going to EVA to decide to stop like they're supposed to and let us leave. So I don't know who's in charge of that. I swear they said they were ready to do it, and nothing's been done.
Mahalo for the concern being raised. Uncle Frank, are you aware of that?
No, I'm not. It's not in my department.
Yeah,
I haven't
that's
heard
what I
the
thought
CAC.
too. No problem. I figure I ask. So all I'm thinking is that, is this project on FDR from Hunt Development? Was that? It was HDOT. Okay, got it. I got you. So their representative's not here, so that was appropriate place to raise the concern because of the fact that we had them on the agenda. Okay, now I understand. All on the same page. HDOT came and told us about that, and it's still not fixed. So we will send a note off and ask them to please provide an update or just fix it. Okay. Now, the chair would like to add to the agenda at this time two items. One is the Department of Environmental Services, April 8, 2025 correspondence to the Neighborhood Board. And two, the Board of Water Supplies, March 4th, 2025 correspondence to the Neighborhood Board. Is there any objection? Being none by 2/3, we are adding those two items. I don't usually add things to the agenda, but the reason why I'm adding is because on April 8, 2025, we got a response from our January 9th special meeting in which we promulgated a resolution and sent a letter in which the Department of Environmental Services affirmed the three things we asked for. The first, we reminded them that our board has a resolution promulgated in 2023-12 for host community compensation for those neighboring landfills or H-Power. And they're moving forward with an expansion and they're asking for community support for the PIM change. So we said, please remember this. And they officially wrote back, and I read, we support providing host community benefits to residents impacted by landfills in their community. So this is the first official response from the city that says that they're supportive of that position. Second is we also asked them to work with Aloha Carbon Initiative to divert waste, who's been with our community for multiple years, talking about coming here in order to divert things from going to H-Power and to the landfill. And they have indicated that they are currently working with them on Oahu's first waste gasifier. And third, we asked them to come back and talk story with us, and they agreed. So that is the April 8th, 2025 correspondence, and it will be put onto our Google Drive for those that wish to see it in detail. Second, good news. March 4th, 2025, the Board of Water Supply indicated to us that beginning on March 18, 2025, they are going to put in a new monitoring well for the Red Hill leaks in our area. So our board passed in 2023 protecting of Oahu's water from the leaks, especially the Navy facility at Kapukaki or Red Hill. And the Board of Water Supply has been extremely on top of the Red Hill situation. And with us, they have worked diligently, and now they're putting a monitoring well here because it is expanding regardless of what the Navy has been telling us. So their data shows it's expanding, and we asked them to put one measuring device in our community, and they have. So really good news for us to see if we should be concerned. Okay. With that, now let's move on to the presentations. We have multiple presentations this evening. Starting off, we had the Hunt presentation, but because we have so many presentations this evening, they have graciously accepted holding off to public input section so that they will only take 3 minutes instead of the allocated 10. So everybody give them a round of applause for helping us get out earlier. So we now go to the proposed Oahu subsea cable telecommunications project. And let's see who's here with us, and we'll get going with that presentation.
Hello there, good evening.
Aloha, welcome.
I think just need to have that presentation up now. Okay, my name is Jojo Acebo of Google. So we are I'm representing our subsidiary company, Humuhumu Services and Starfish Infrastructure for the Oahu Subsea Cable Telecommunication Project. We really appreciate the opportunity here for us to present this one, and together with me is our project team that will help address any question from the board and community. Okay, so mindful of time here, let's just go to the agenda. So I have 10 minutes to go through this one. And so let me start by defining the need, purpose, and benefit of the project here. We can all agree that today's digital world, the internet, is a crucial infrastructure. It underpins our commerce, education, government function, healthcare, and countless daily activities. Just a sec. Forgot to change my glasses. So we use them in our daily activities such as emails, video calls like what we have right now, social media, online shopping, and everything. Looking ahead with the advancement of AI and machine learning, we can only expect that this demand will go up. All this data is running through subsea fiber, a glass that is stretching thousands of kilometers across the ocean, connecting everybody physically, globally. We can actually say that the cloud is under the sea. Here in Hawaii, while we have several existing international cables, they face limitation, constraint, as well as diversity can be improved. Furthermore, the existing international cables right now, half of them or a quarter of them is already nearing retirement. A portion of them is already 15 years, and the recent one is already 7 years old, where the lifespan of a cable system is only 25 years. This brings me to the purpose of the project. So the project will deliver a reliable, diverse internet connectivity, linking Hawaii to the Americas, Asia, Australia, and New Zealand, and a bunch of Pacific islands, as shown in their simple diagram presented on the board right now. Also, this directly supports the Connect Cacao vision, the Hawaii Broadband Initiative goal to significantly increase the internet here in the island. Ultimately, this project will expand Hawaii's broadband capacity. Furthermore, I would just want to emphasize here that the project will have an open access network and focus on sustainability, meaning the new cable will be carrier neutral, meaning local service provider will have access to the international capacity, as well as our facility will focus on sustainability, meaning aiming for carbon neutral in operations, as well as employing reusable civil infrastructure such as Seaward HDD. So let me just go through the project overview. Let me simplify this one into 3 components. The first 3 bullets there will be talking about the subsea cable landing that will be happening at Barbers Point Beach Park. The second one is the conduit system that will be linking the facility from the beach all the way to the telecommunication facility, and lastly, the telecommunication facility. So the first one is the subsea cable installation. The cables will be landing at Barbers Point Beach Park. This brings the cable on shore without disturbing the beach or nearshore environment. We will be utilizing horizontal directional drilling methodology. The project will deliver 6 bore pipes, which will be able to pull cables later on. So this is a trench method, as you can see at the simple animation provided in the slide there, wherein we do the bore pipe below and the cable ship comes in. We have conducted a number of benthic survey to ensure that the HDD process and cable installation will avoid impacting sensitive marine life, such as corals and seagrass. Furthermore, we have actively engaged with the City Department and Parks to manage construction impact, as well as possibility of post-construction park improvements, such as tree planting or facility enhancement. The Second component will be the front haul duct system that will extend the subsea cable all the way to the facility. This is 100% underground duct system connecting the landing site all the way to the telecommunication facility that will be running along the public right-of-way. So it will pass through Capole Parkway all the way to Farrington Highway. We have been coordinating with HDOT, the city, as well as utility companies to make sure that there will be no conflict on existing infrastructure and developing traffic controls that we will implement during the construction phase. The last one is the telecommunication facility itself that will be located at the University of Hawaii West Oahu. This is where we will be housing all the equipment where the fibers will be terminated and will be the neutral access point for local service providers. Before we move forward, I just want to make emphasis on the following items: the design, environmental, and cultural considerations that we have made. Through planning, we have addressed potential impacts, including noise, traffic, visual, and effects on historic and cultural sites. Key assessments, steps including initiated consultation with State Historic Preservation Division, which we started early this month. We have conducted a cultural impact assessment where we have consulted and invited 40 individuals and organizations late last year, where we have received a positive response and insightful feedback, which we will be incorporating in our assessment. No objections so far. We have performed benthic survey, which I have mentioned earlier, to make sure that we avoid any marine impact. And the draft environmental assessment will be submitted next week with anticipation of publication for public comment around June. This is subject to OCCL review, which is the lead agency for the EA report. And a bunch of scoping letters has been issued to communities, utility companies, and local and state agency to ensure that regulatory compliance is acquiring the necessary construction permits and easement is covered. So where we are right now, in 2025 second quarter, we are fully engaged with community engagement and permitting, with the anticipation of starting construction next year. And if everything goes to plan and maintain our positive momentum, the first cable will be landing end of next year. There are 3 cables planned right now, international cable. First one is Bulikula. This will connect Hawaii to a number of Pacific islands. Tambua, that will connect US and Australia. And Taihei to Japan, other Pacific islands, and the US. So these are our main objectives this year, to achieve this milestone so that we can start the target construction in 2026. So let me just close in a summary that after everything has been done, the project will facilitate and improve internet for Hawaii through an open, neutral, and sustainable infrastructure. So I think that's it. Thank you very much, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Mahalo, thank you for the presentation. We will start the questions with Member Moon Kahele, and then coming towards me.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for your time and your presentation. I'm not a nautical engineer. How long is this cable going to reach from here to the next conduit point, say from here to Guam? How long is that cable?
everything is, of course, based on physics, the speed of light. So factoring the glass and any other factor, typically between crossing the Pacific, it will be less than 50 milliseconds, so definitely quite fast.
Second, when you guys dig it along the roadways as you specified, how deep are you guys going to go down with the cable?
Okay, we will be employing HDD on the roadways as well. So anticipated it will be more than below 6 to 8 feet.
Are you guys going to use trades and island union people to do this work?
The anticipation here is to utilize local resources as much as we can.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Dr. Bosler, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. The last time someone from your company came, there was talk about the cables being above ground, and our board has been really committed to making sure they're underground. So thank you for making that change. I
think that's not us.
Oh, sorry.
That's that guy over there.
No problem.
Well,
No problem. The community must be
I'm looking
confused.
forward to him telling us that they're going to be underground cables as well.
But I was actually waiting for that comment because this is the sustainability that I mentioned. We are looking for opportunity to actually accommodate such other field because they're doing the inter-island, which will complement the international connectivity that we're going to deliver.
And then my next question was the first cable that's going to be connecting the different islands of Oceania. Are you going to be having, or will the cable be stopping off in American Samoa? I ask because we have many citizens there who are trying to access school, higher learning, jobs, and it's very difficult for them. So just this more of just a question. I saw there was a connection point in Fiji. Great.
Yeah.
Suva also has a wonderful university and their students do come to us as well.
So I know Fiji and Suva. I'm not so sure about
American Samoa.
have to double check on that.
Thank you.
Let's go to Board Member McFerrer.
Yeah, I was wondering, have you folks approached the DLNR for their right of entry permits, or do you know when you're going to be doing that?
Yes, as I have mentioned, OCCL will be the lead agency.
Okay, right.
That will be reviewing our EA. So yeah, they're pretty much, we already have initial engagement last.
Yeah, because sometimes they'll pass it over to the land division because they're the support branch.
Mhm.
And I hadn't seen it, so I was just kind of wondering where it was at in the process. So if it's at OCCL, then we can kind of expect to see it soon then.
Yeah, as I have mentioned earlier, the EA draft will be submitted to OCCL next week. So hopefully in your review process, it will be published in June.
Great, thank you.
And First Vice Chair Michaela Lindstone.
Mahalo. I was answered. So this is different than Hawaii, but it's good. Great. Hawaii is the other, but you're working together, which is great.
Not with Hawaii.
No. Yes, different.
Yes.
Yes. The second question is, if the lifespan is 25 years of the cable, what happens at the end of the lifespan?
So there are a number of retirement plans. You can recover it, but depending on the marine biology around the cable, some suggest not to touch it. It will be decommissioned in place. So there will be a study just to assess what's the condition of the cable.
So it remains underground.
Oh, the underground will remain there because it's pretty much buried so deep, right, when we do the boring.
And then the third question is, it sounds like you have a give back or revitalization of the Barbers Point Beach. Did you mention that, planting trees?
Yes, actually, I have a meeting with the Parks and Recs tomorrow morning here to discuss this.
I think that's great. If it's a community event, if you could let us know, you know, if it's a community sort of revitalization of the park or anything.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
We're
let us know.
waiting
I
for
think
their proposal because we're dependent on their suggestion on how to better improve the park after our construction.
Mahalo.
Dr. Amy Bosler, go ahead, and then Dr. Dudley afterwards.
I apologize. This may seem like a trivial question. However, I am speaking for all of our surfers and fishermen and women who use that Coral Sea Road area out to Barbers Point and then around White Plains, all of the fence line surfers, main breaks, campgrounds. We have a lot of people using that area, so I'm wondering if you're anticipating that being closed off for installation.
Unlikely.
Okay.
There will be some disturbance because it's a construction site, right? It will be properly fenced off for security and safety
Okay.
consideration. Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure we knew.
Dr. Dudley Gordon.
Now, you said that the cable will come on island and it goes to UH West Oahu. Is that where it's going?
Yes, it will be terminated.
And what do they do with it? What does UH West Oahu do with it?
We will be utilizing the property there. Like I said, it will be a neutral cable. So even UH can acquire some capacity, the government or local service provider.
Okay. And the other cable, where does it go? Does it go to UH West Oahu also? The other cable?
The Highfield, it will, the comment on that one. Yes, and it will go to PDR. Yeah.
Go where?
To digital, DR Fortress, yeah. DR Fortress, which is a few kilometers going to the airport, yeah.
Okay.
It's another data center.
Thank you very much. Two comments for you at this time. In 2024, 06/2024, we passed a resolution on sustainable Hawaiian landscaping that gives you all of the names of the different native and endemic Hawaiian plants that are local to this area that makes sense for you to consider in planting. So we have a list for you to consider. And second, 2025-01, we promulgated a resolution calling for our concerns that was mentioned again this evening about wildfires in our community. So if you could have in your assessment being done, what plans on wildfire mitigations that you will plan to make around your installation would be extremely helpful.
Yeah, we'll have a review on that one.
Any comments, questions, or concerns from the community at large? Okay, start here, then we'll go around. We have a couple online.
I just wanted some clarification, because one of us is confused. Is the cable coming in, you said it's coming into Barbers Point Beach Park, but Barbers Point Beach Park is located in Campbell Industrial Area, correct? Okay, so it's not by White Plains Beach. No, it's not. It's coming from Campbell Industrial Park. The end of Kailua Boulevard that goes into Campbell Industrial. That was from the last meeting. I was listening. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because yeah, that would be a whole different story if it's coming into White Plains. That's like, okay, thank you.
Okay, Lukua.
Thank you for your presentation. Just wonder if the cultural impact assessment can be made available so that we can look at it. We'd like to see who they spoke with and what kind of impacts they assessed or did not assess. And then if we can get time to comment on that after reading it. But is Hawaiki also gonna do a presentation today? Okay, so here's the thing. I do have comments later on for Hawaiki, which I will bring up during community concerns. Where that channel is coming out from the end of Campbell Industrial by the part by the refinery, which is pretty close. On the other side is the Kalailua unit of the National Wildlife Refuge. And so that one has Opaiula and the endangered akoko, as well as the, I don't know if they still have Evahina. Yeah, Evahina hinam. And then closer to where you at, about a block, 2 blocks away-ish, big blocks, but anyways, we have our Kipuka Okahinahina, which had Opaiula until they had construction as late as 2016. Sometime between 2016 and now, the Opaiula are gone. And then the Evahinahina endangered went from 16 specimen down to 1. And we came into Malama, now we're at 9. But we still trying to find ways and hopefully clean it up to bring the Opaiula back. Which, by the way, our kupuna did say to before the construction to make sure it doesn't impact the Opaiula. We have Auntie Nettie as well as Uncle Shad both did tell them ahead of time. So right now our organization had to look far and wide. We found a hydrologist who came in from Maui, and he said not enough studies has been done for the hydrology. So I would recommend that these folks here to do some kind of hydrology, because all that subterranean water, which was important for our fishery named Hanio, that brought the coast, is going to be impacted because they're going to dig up. I'm for internet, by the way. Like I need internet, right? But I mean, it's going to be impacted, and so perhaps part of the mitigation, like if you got to go with this, is like, hey, well, if you're going to affect the hydrology, which you got to do a study with that, then find ways to bring back the Opaiula somewhere else on our coast, find help and support the reforestation of Evahinahina and Akoko, among others that you mentioned, other places along our coast, because we know for a fact that this federal funding that got taken away because the black magic word is environment and climate, you know, you cannot get any funding. So anyways, those are just some of my thoughts. And Hawaii, I got some thoughts for Hawaii, please. Thank you.
Mahalo. Thank you for raising up the cultural concerns for the area and potential ways to help mitigate afterwards.
Just to answer about the cultural impact assessment, so that will be appended to the EA that we will be submitting next week to OCCL, which hopefully everything their review will be published for community comment in June. We have our local.
Yeah. Okay, and Chair recognizes Michaela Lindstone.
Mahalo. Just to share, kind of piggyback a little bit on what Ulukoa said. So I know you're in your community engagement phase right now. And I think one thing that Ulukoa is saying is we really care about our places here. And so if you're going to do anything that you potentially see community becoming involved with, which is one reason I asked about the revitalization, we would love to be involved in it because we really care about our places. And perhaps there's an opportunity for us to bring back the Opaiula, but to be involved rather than just having a website that we can go to, we would, there are community members who would like to be a part of your program.
Yes, I totally agree with that view from you. And I think we will be dependent on your inputs here because, of course, at your point, you guys are the local here and pretty much understand what is expected. So yeah, a part of our community engagement is to continue making sure that we address those feedback.
Mahalo. Okay. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Online, we have Val Tuiloma.
Thank you, Chair. I had a few questions that were already answered. Thank you to the community member that did mention the Opaiula, because I was going to mention that as well. I'm curious to know how much is this going to cost to, one, install, two, maintain, and service for the 25 years, and how much more is my internet going to be once this is set in place?
Regarding the cost of the project, unfortunately, we cannot share that one due to industry how can I say, business practices. Second, regarding the internet, I think economics will suggest once we fill it with international demand, it will go down. It will be, of course, dependent on how the local service provider manage those prices that we're going to introduce here. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no direct answer on that one, but hopefully this will be a positive that will help.
Shucks, they didn't tell us how much they're going to spend. We understand the proprietary information. Gotcha. Okay. Going now to community member Sheila Maderas.
Aloha, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I just have just a concern actually. Since the cables are underground and you're going to West Oahu. So recently in the Hawaiian homestead, they have discovered multiple sinkholes and discovered that there's streams flowing under homes. And it's so disturbing that they can actually hear when it's raining hard, the streams underneath their homes. So when you're digging and you're installing these lines, will you stop work if you discover a sinkhole or a stream? Because what's happening is now that it's coming to attention, it's up, people are realizing their sinkholes. I believe it was FEMA, just recently there was an article that they have revised the flood zone areas. And now that they realize there's streams, which I argue because the streams have been there forever. And so the environmental study didn't capture that when they allowed the homes to be built over streams. So I just please ask you before you folks start drilling that you indicate where these streams are if you are going, because I don't know where the streams are. I know there are streams, actually, if you look on the map, there's streams coming down these valleys from Makakilo as well. And it's going through Ho'opili area, and some is crossing near West Oahu. So please be careful and that it doesn't disturb it even more, and then it causes more damage than your cable will help. That's all I have.
Yeah, hopefully this will address that concern. One reason why we purposely route the conduits along the public right-of-way is because it's already a disturbed and there's so many utilities there. So that address that one. But regardless, we will be doing a number of geotech as well, just to check the sub-profile composition, because we're drilling and dropping manholes there. And should we find any problems, and obviously it's a technical thing that we need to address.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, mahalo, thank you. And we have community member Carol England.
Hi, thank you again for the presentation, but the one thing that I was waiting for someone to bring up, because it's a concern for Kapolei in general, is the traffic when you're out there digging. You said 6-foot trenches, right? Six to 8 feet trenches. And it's running along major highways. I want to bring that up about the traffic. Have you guys, I know this is the early phase, but have you thought about how are you going to manage the traffic? What hours of operation are you going to be digging your trenches? Things like that, because you got Farrington, you got all these busy areas, especially if it's coming out of the entry point, all the way through Kapolei.
Yeah, just for clarity, we will be boring along majority of the road, but there will be open pit, of course, for us to start and end our drilling activity, where, as I have mentioned earlier, we're working with DOT as well as the city to implement some traffic control plans.
Do you know how long it's going to take from point A to point B? Once it comes from the ocean onto land all the way to UH, do you have a time frame of how long this construction would
Uh,
last?
uh, Hopefully, it will take us like 4 to 6 months, but it depends on the issuance of permits for us, the conditions on the road for traffic closures and those things. Right now, I can assure, of course, for our benefit, we want it to be finished as soon as possible, but we need to accommodate the requirement or provisions provided to us by city or DOT.
Thank you so much.
Mahalo. Any final questions, comments, or concerns for this project? Hearing none. Thank you again for the presentation, and we look forward to continuing to be involved in your community engagement portion of your project. Now, next up, let's invite the Department of Transportation, the bus, and there's two presentations this evening. One on the route changes for opening second phase of Skyline and the other on Title VI program.
Hi, yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chair, for the introduction. My name is Kent Yang. I'm with the Department of Transportation Services. So we have two presentations. I will briefly do mine. Mine is on the Title VI program. So let me just share my screen real quick, and then I will introduce our second presentation after this, this presentation. So please hold your questions until the end of our presentations. Thank you. Okay, everyone, are you able to see the PowerPoint?
No, we do not. We currently see WebEx on your screen.
Okay. Give me a second. Sorry about that.
No problem. Now we see us.
Here we go. Okay, how about now?
Yes.
Okay, terrific. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so as I was saying, I'm with the Transportation Mobility Division, and here to present to you all on the recent 2025 Title VI program for the city and county public transit system. So this is done every 3 years, and this is an update. The last one we did was back in 2022. So introduction. Title VI legislation prohibits discrimination against race, color, and national origin. So as a recipient of federal grant funds, DTS is required to prepare a public transit Title VI program every 3 years with the Federal Transit Administration. There's certain requirements, guidance that we have to demonstrate as a public transit agency in order to show that we do our services in a non-discriminatory manner without regard to race, color, and national origin. So this draft program contains these contents you see right here. Procedures for filing, receiving, any Title VI complaints are in this report.
Kent?
Yes. Hello?
We're still seeing just the title slide. Can you go into present mode, please?
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Present. Slideshow, right?
Yes.
Do you see the introduction now?
We do. We see from the presenter mode, but that's fine as long as we can see the
okay.
The deck. If you just enlarge it as much as you can, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Perhaps the toolbar up top, if you could minimize that.
Oops. Can you guys see the Title VI program contents right now?
No, it got worse, actually. Whatever you did,
sorry.
please undo it.
Curtis, do you by chance have my PowerPoint on you right now that I sent to you?
Yeah, Curtis is coming to the rescue. We have it on our Google Drive, so.
Okay, terrific. I don't know why. It's always been a problem. Oh, I see what you guys are seeing. Okay.
Much better. Thanks.
Okay. You guys see it now?
No, we're going to go with
Program contents.
if you stop sharing on your end, we can present it on ours.
Okay.
There you
Gotcha,
go.
gotcha.
We'll go
Sorry.
down to
Okay.
we're on the first slide, go down to the second. And then from there, I think we can continue on.
Yes, so we should be on slide number 3.
Okay.
Okay, so that was
There you go. Slide number 3.
program contents. Okay, thank you, Curtis. Okay, so as I was saying, so there's procedures receiving and addressing any Title VI discrimination complaints in this report, public participation plans and our processes, our policies, language services for limited English proficient persons, so LEP. These are people who have difficulty with the English language. And we did a survey back in 2021 to 2022. We found out the 5 languages that need translations were Tagalog, Ilocano, or Filipino, Japanese, Chinese, and Chuukese, which is a Micronesian language. And in addition, we do facility site location selection. So that's also in the report. Lastly, we have a lot of fixed route operation data with demographic data, major service and fare change policies, and equity analysis. As well, we have a lot of service evaluation for all our routes. Okay, slide 4, please. Here you see a map of the Title VI areas with minorities and low-income groups. So the data collected here was done by the U.S. Census Bureau. It's done every 10 years. So the most recent one was back in 2020. Data used in the creation of this map was provided by UMPO. And with UMPO and DPP, they use a special formula or a methodology of determining what's a minority area and what's a low income area. They use what's called a settlement pattern, and it's not necessarily taking specific racial makeup for each census block. Okay, slide 5, please. Okay, and so our program findings covered vehicle load, which is the level of crowding on our buses, vehicle headway, which is the frequency of buses, on-time performance, whether they come in on time or early, late, service availability, amenity distribution. That's like bus stop, amenities like benches, shelters, trash cans, vehicle assignment, which is like the age of our buses and the types of vehicles that we've used. Okay, slide 6, please. And so we want to hear from you. I will provide the link in the chat where you can view the whole report itself. You can view it online. It's about like 200 something pages. There's a lot of data in there, but we are trying to get our comments in by May 1st, and we can submit to FTA by June 1st. Okay, and with that, that concludes my Title VI presentation. And any other questions and comments, please email or call us. All right, so our next presentation will be done by our consultant, PBR Hawaii, by our Katie Cullison. She will be presenting the bus changes that are proposed to be happening by October. As some of you might know, the mayor said that we're trying to open the next stage of our rail line in October. So Katie, please take it away.
Aloha, if you're speaking, I think you might be mute.
Oh, I double hit the button. I'm so sorry. Aloha, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes, good job.
with the slide presentation. Okay, cool. I'm working with one screen tonight, so I'm gonna move to the presentation on my screen. And Chair, if you have any need to stop me, if you could give me a verbal, that would be great. I will go ahead with our presentation. Again, my name is Katie Cullison. I'm a planner with PBR Hawaii, and we're supporting the Department of Transportation Services with community engagement as they contemplate some bus route changes to align the bus system, the bus with opening of Skyline Rail. Of course, Kent, you heard from already from DTS, and then I'm also joined by Peter Garino, whose name you can see on screen as well. And there's Pete on camera. All right, so I'm going to get into this presentation. You should be seeing a slide with bus 44 on it right now. And first, let me preface the presentation. I'm going to go pretty fast through this because there are so many presentations this evening. But the purpose of this presentation is to share changes to bus routes that are under consideration by DTS. We're considering community input before making any changes to routes. The purpose for making bus route changes and considering them is to better integrate bus routes with Skyline. The next phase of Skyline will be opening in October, and it connects more people to employment centers. And so this is the time to be thinking about how best to make the system more efficient for riders to get them where they need to be. In this presentation, I'll share information about the next series of Skyline stations that are to be opened, the bus routes that are under consideration for adjustments, and at the end of the presentation, we'll provide an email address where we would like to receive comments from the community. So this slide and the one following show the Skyline stations as they're being opened. In this first slide, you're seeing the stations that are open now at Aloha, up to Aloha Station. And then on the next slide, you'll see the slides, the stations that are opening up to Middle Street. And a couple of things I wanted to point out in the text. This is a rather busy slide, but I think it's important to note that Skyline hours will be expanded with earlier starts and later stops each day. And the changes are also going to accommodate the rail extension, and bus hours are actually increasing to improve service to riders. So you can see on this slide, the third bullet point talks about the pre-opening day changes that happened in March of this year, the next phase that we're talking about now, October 1, and then some proposed future changes as well. So overall, we did a calculation today in preparation for this meeting, and you'll see on the slide it says overall bus hours will increase by approximately 3%. Annually, that amounts to about 40,000 hours. So that was kind of an interesting fact that I learned today. This next slide that is going to follow this transition here, just to refresh you all, these are implemented changes, restructured routes that occurred with the first phase opening of Skyline in March. And those changes were predominantly in this area. You can see that routes were restructured to provide service to Skyline, and a new route was added to get riders from Ewa Beach to the UH West Oahu station. So this is just a recap of some of the recent changes that were made. And I'm going to move on to routes that are considered for change with the next phase opening of Skyline. So first, I want to start with a big picture diagrammatic image that shows how major bus lines can work with Skyline Rail together to make a more seamless transit network. Big picture on this image, you can see how the A line is considered to be shortened because it is somewhat redundant with the new Skyline stations. I'll share more on that. And new routes to Waikiki and UH Manoa are proposed. I'll go into a little more detail on the next slides. So I mentioned the A line being potentially truncated. This image and the slide on the next one are kind of before and after style slides. The current one shows the existing A line. You can see how it extends now all the way west to Pearl Ridge Station. And then on the next slide, you'll see how it's under consideration to terminate at Lagoon Drive. On this slide and the next one, you'll see how the hours of service are proposed to expand to run later into the evening, and there's no change to the proposed frequency of service. So what's important to note with changes such as this, that when lines, when these redundancies are reduced and lines are truncated, it then frees up more buses for service improvements elsewhere on island. So that's the idea, is to improve some efficiency and improve the situation for riders. On the next two slides, I'm going to show you some images similar kind of before and after, where proposed Route 20 is considered to be discontinued with this new W line to Waikiki being added. On this first slide, what you see is a dashed line. It looks yellow or green on my computer. The dashed line is the Route 20. You can see how it is somewhat redundant, part of it with Skyline, the new service. So I'm going to move to the next slide, where you can see how the W line would now connect Waikiki into the Skyline system. I wanted to add, to point out for the smaller text on this slide, there's a greater frequency of service. You can see more stops, and giving riders more flexibility in planning their commutes with the greater frequency of service. You'll also see on this slide that the hours of service are actually expanding to add earlier mornings, but still running late into the night to serve people that work in Waikiki. And this slide just shows a little more detail about this route, how things are considered for changes within the airport loop, as well as downtown Honolulu, where this W line would pass through downtown Honolulu on Nimitz rather than through the Central Business District. And I think this is an important time to also mention that there's a few routes that are being considered for changes here that we're talking about. This doesn't eliminate the other routes that are making up the complete network of the transit system. So just a few changes to be considering and looking for feedback on. This slide shows a potential new U line that would connect Mapunapuna to UH Manoa. And this would allow anyone to catch Skyline and then hop on a limited stop bus that would get them to the Manoa campus. The frequency proposed is to be every hour with extra trips during the AM and PM peak. So that's something new that's under consideration and we'd appreciate some feedback on. This next slide shows another route that we'd like feedback on. This one and the following one is another before and after story. This one shows us Route 303, which you can see has some redundancy with Skyline, but it also serves Joint Base Pearl Harbor and Hickam. But DTS, what we're thinking about is adding a new Route 331 is the number. And on the next slide, I'll show that to you, which would service the continuous service Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam, and then connect to the Makalapa station. Okay, so that one's another under consideration. What this slide is showing you are three routes that are currently in existence, but they're proposed to connect with Skyline at Lagoon Drive rather than out at the stadium. I'll note that the Wahiawa Route 51 is still expected to stop at Pearl Highlands. So looking for feedback on that one as well. And then this is the final route that I wanted to share that's under consideration for change October 1. And this one's in your neighborhood specifically. And what we're considering is changing the route frequency. It's currently 10 minutes, and what's under consideration is every 15-minute frequency. And the idea is to match service levels with the demand and adjust accordingly. So those were the routes that are being considered for change October 1. Again, I'll provide an email address for comments at the end of the presentation. We wanted to float a couple of additional ideas by communities as we're making the rounds of neighborhood boards to talk about these changes. These are potential future changes that we'd like to just bring to your attention early, and we'll come back again to talk about them as things develop. Again, overview graphic showing the concept where bus routes, big bus lines can feed Skyline for an overall more efficient ride. And a couple of examples that are under consideration is the C line, which goes all the way out to Makaha and runs all the way into town. One consideration or contemplation that DTS has is to have the C line run from Makaha to UH West Oahu Station, where people can get up into Skyline, out of H1 traffic, and ride into town the rest of the way without getting into car congestion. So that's one. And then the other example that I wanted to run by folks is the E line, which also runs to town, to consider changing that to a Mauka to Makai line, where it would get folks from Wahiawa to Ewa Beach, and everyone in between would have access then on this line to the Skyline service. So that concludes my presentation of routes that are considered for changes for the second phase of opening of Skyline, October 1. You can email comments to the email address that's shown on the screen. I'm going to read it out for anyone who's having difficulty reading on the screen. It's thebusstop@honolulu.gov. Thebusstop@honolulu.gov is the email address that we are seeking your comments to. And please provide your comments no later than July 15 of this summer. Thank you so much.
Mahalo for the presentation from Transportation and their consultant PBR on the proposed bus route changes for the opening of the second phase of Skyline and the Public Transit Title VI program. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the board members? Chair recognizes Dr. Amy Bosler. Go right ahead.
Thank you. I'll try to be quick. The last proposed change would be affecting our Makaha Leeward Coast communities. I'm wondering, do you have an estimate for how much time that might add to a commuter's day? Because right now we're seeing that people are getting on out here and then they have to change stations. And so their commutes are either the same amount of time as driving or being on the bus, or sometimes longer. And I do love the idea of being able to get our commuters into town faster and being on the Skyline and not adding to our congestion of H1. However, just wondering if you have an estimate. Will this be increasing their commute time, or what benefit will it be for the actual commuters? Thank you.
Sure. The concept is to reduce the commute time by getting people into Skyline. The Skyline has greater frequency as well, so it allows a little more flexibility for commuters to plan their trips.
Thank you. First Vice Chair, okay, defers. And so Member Moon Kahele, go right ahead.
Thank you for your presentation. Is there any way possible that the existing stop at the old Honolulu Stadium can be extended to the airport? And the reason why I say that, people got to get off the transit, walk downstairs and catch the bus. So by going all the way to the airport, that might be a little bit more justified for a lot of West Siders to take the tram to the airport and to fly out and come home the same transportation route. Just a thought. Thank you.
Thank you for
No.
that suggestion. We'll mark it down.
First Vice Chair, Michaela Lidstone.
Mahalo. The expanded hours are practical and they'll be welcomed, I know, by all those who ride the rail. There are currently, I think, 114 bus routes. So the U line and 331 would be additional lines or routes.
The U line and the W would be potentially new routes. The
Okay.
331 is contemplated to replace the 303.
303. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the C, I'm a bus rider. The C, I love that C route. So on October 1st, you're proposing that it does not go all the way into town, but stops at the Keoniai Skyline Rail Station.
The C line is one that we are considering for a future change,
but not
with
October
the
1st.
October 1. No, it would be with the next phase opening. Yeah, so up to where I talked about the service frequency change for the
46.
circulator, the smaller one in 46. That's kind of the last of the ones that are under consideration for October 1 change. And then the second, or those last two that I talked about, C line and the E line, are proposed or under consideration or in discussion right now for the next phase opening of Skyline. And when that happens, there'll be another round of presentations and seeking feedback. But we welcome feedback on these ideas now. That's why we're presenting it.
Yeah, I'm gonna send in my feedback, but I think just the route 46 every 15 minutes, I think that's a good idea. Every 10 minutes, sometimes you see that 46 back to back. So every 15 minutes, I think would be practical. Mahalo.
Thanks.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns from the board? Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community at large? Come on up.
Thank you, Chair. Just that I used to work at the airport and I was riding the rail every time. And then also taking some postgraduate courses at UH. It was really convenient going onto the rail and you just go downstairs, catch the A, take you straight to UH and all that. But maybe you brought this up, the hour is going to have to be extended. And then the other thing is that I travel a lot. So the problem is that I got to catch an Uber from the stadium because I cannot use the bus with my suitcase and all that. But I look forward to using it when it goes all the way to the airport. And I think proactively, it would be good if the rail would start advertising, marketing to the airport and the tourists and on the planes. Because when you travel and you have a couple hours or whatever, you want to go see something. And if they know they can go to Arizona Memorial and come back real fast, you can get ridership. If they know they can go downtown Chinatown and come back real fast or whatever, well, you tell them there's something at Prairie Ridge or try to Pais at Anna Miller. You know, that's something that they're going to know. But also you're going to need to make the cards available for tourists. So figure out one way that they can easily just jump on and use them. And I tell you what, the tourists can use them. And the last thing is, for the last 30, 40 years, we've been asking for one small little bus will come to Honakaihale. So you don't need to go walk all the way up the hill. So maybe you're going to be the one to help us and pass the word on. But yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Mahalo.
Thank
Any
you so
other
much.
Comments, questions or community concerns for both presentations? Okay. Hearing none, thank you again for the time and the presentations. We appreciate it. And we have the information on our agenda, those that wish to comment. Now let's move forward to the early eviction mediation program.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to jump into my presentation so we can start and move forward. But my name is Roberta Hickey Gomez. I'm from the Mediation Center of the Pacific. Sorry, give me one moment while I pull this up. Okay, can everyone see my presentation?
Yes, it looks good. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. So a little bit of history and background on our program. It launched in 2021 as part of the EEM's program to address the eviction moratorium as part of Act 57 coming out of COVID-19. So we had an initial target of about 6,000 tenants who were in arrears on Oahu. We had a first-year success of mediating about 1,342 out of 3,000 cases. We achieved an 85% agreement rate, and we kept 90% of tenants in their homes. Act 57 expired in August of 2022, but the program continued forward with private funds. Limited rental assistance was available. We didn't, at the beginning, have independent contractors. So what it resulted in was about a 73% early landlord-tenant cases in agreement. But we've continued moving forward, developing the program. We incorporated independent contractors to make it easier to schedule and coordinate with parties. One of the things that's really beneficial about this program is that it's facially neutral, so it benefits both landlords and tenants. It is a free program. Sorry, give me 1 second. So it is a facially beneficial program that benefits both landlords and tenants. In the benefit to landlords, it reduces the time spent recovering rents and navigating the legal system. On average, landlords spend between 1 to 4 months in eviction, and that's not including time spent prior to eviction attempting to collect rents in arrears. Landlords also save money in the process because oftentimes they'll spend anywhere between $500 and $10,000. Agreements foster relationships and mutual interests to support rentals being left in better condition when those relationships end. And also, if agreements do break down, landlords can bring those agreements to the court, showing that they've done everything possible to be able to resolve outside of court. We also know that it's beneficial to tenants. It provides greater housing stability and predictability, and that's whether tenants remain in the home or they come to a reasonable time frame to move out. We know that can be particularly beneficial in high cost of living areas like Hawaii. There are also fewer evictions on record is beneficial for tenants because that can stigmatize and impact future housing decisions, including potential removal from Section 8, which can have catastrophic effect on houselessness. Also, agreements between landlords and tenants provide greater ease in housing relationships. Overall, it provides for greater community stability in terms of houseless prevention and fostering fiscal responsibility and stability. So as the program's been developing over the fiscal year 24-25, we see a 33% of EEM cases. It's actually grown about 20% over that fiscal year. We started off at about 12%. Our agreement rate hovers between 92 and 93%. And we have about 60% increase in EEM cases from Q1. The way the program works is it provides landlords and tenants with the opportunity to talk with the help of an impartial mediator, and they can negotiate agreements. If English isn't the participant's primary language, the Mediation Center will provide an interpreter. Meetings are held remotely through Zoom. If a participant does not have access to the internet, we'll provide access in our office. We've also been partnering with other organizations to provide that access in the community. Before the mediation, participants are required to electronically sign a confidentiality agreement. A mediation session is scheduled for 1.5 hours at a day and time that's agreed to by landlord and tenant. And if an agreement is reached, the mediator will put it in writing to be signed electronically and given to the parties. Cases can be scheduled in a 48-hour period. Typically, cases can be resolved within a 3 to 5 business day window, which when you think about the court's time frame, it can be anywhere from 4 months, and we've even heard cases going as long as 6 months. We've also been incorporating into the program tools that can be beneficial to our mediators and for landlords and tenants, one of which is the eviction cost calculator. As I mentioned earlier, we have figures anywhere between $500 and $10,000 could be the cost of an eviction, but those figures tend to be abstract. So this eviction cost calculator calculates very specifically for the rental portfolio of the landlord, depending on the unit size, the square footage, the monthly rent, lease terms, etc. And then it calculates all of that information to give them a real-time assessment of what that eviction would cost them in real terms. We also have tools on the tenant side. We've partnered with Hawaiian Community Assets to bring about a monthly spending plan. And this is based on a budgeting process that is geared towards local communities here in Hawaii. We've also been working on HB 1433 relating to eviction mediation. This is in an effort to have eviction be the first form of remedy for landlord and tenant disputes when we're dealing with cases where tenants are in arrears. So it's providing a window with which landlords and tenants are required to move forward to try and resolve in mediation where possible. We've also been working on tenant Kokua hubs. These Kokua hubs have been partnering with community hubs where people typically go to for services. And in this, we've been training the staff there to educate people on what eviction mediation is, how it could be a benefit to them in their particular case and circumstances. We've also been training them to help them assist in online intake forms. And if they have space available, we also encourage them to allow a space for hybrid or in-person mediation for certain people who are having technology access issues. Amongst the Kokua Hub members, we have Hawaiian Community Assets, Family Promise. We're in talks now with Kalihi Palama and trying to work with Waikiki Community Center as well to develop further Kokua hubs throughout the island. The best way in order to reach us, you can use this QR code. You can go to our website, mediatehawaii.org, click on contact, schedule a mediation. You'll submit a request form, and in that you'll be taken to this online intake form where you'll put in your information, the information of the other party, the issues you're facing, and we'll reach out to try and schedule with you. And that is my presentation.
Mahalo for the presentation. Are there any comments from the board? Chair recognizes Second Vice Chair Dr. Kilney Dudley.
I just want to say, this is really wonderful. You know, I think it's great that you have this program. I wish that it could be really well publicized so that people could know that it's available to them, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I also just wanted to reiterate that the program is completely free for both landlords and tenants. We have both of which reach out to us frequently to be able to resolve their issues. We currently have a PSA running both on TV and radio. Please look out for it. And if anyone has any referrals, please let us know.
Mahalo. Any other questions or comments from the board? Any questions, comments from the community at large? Okay, Chair recognizes Carol England online.
Roberta, thank you for that report, because back in 2021, I sat in the initial meeting because I work with the homeless as well, that an influx of referrals. And it was kind of a slow start. But now that I see, 4 years later, it's amazing how that program really took off. So good job. And thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Well, the chair recognizes community member Val Tuiloma online.
Thank you, Chair. Roberta, great program. I've utilized it for a lot of my clients. In the future, would you folks be opening up to people that have mortgages and dealing with possible foreclosures? I mean, is that a talk or something that can be had, or ideas for the future?
So we do offer mediation services. They're just not as part of this particular like free community service program, but you can certainly reach out to us if you do have like mediation concerns, particularly with mortgage institutions. We're happy if all parties are willing and interested in moving forward with mediation. We're happy to do that. And then also it would be on a sliding fee scale. So it would be based on what the income of the parties is. So it would still be affordable. It just wouldn't be part of this particular free program.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Any other comments, questions, or concerns from the community? Great. Seeing none, thank you again for the presentation. Appreciate it very much. Okay. Now, we welcome up the Cove Redevelopment Project update. Working some technical magic, and we'll bring up the presentation shortly. Okay, and we're good to go.
Great.
Welcome.
Can you hear me? Great. Thank you, Chair, members of the board, and community members. My name is Matt Harris with James Campbell Company. And first, I want to say I appreciate everyone's time this evening. I know you could be watching the Ho'ike of Mary Monarch. So I'll try and be just as animated, but it's probably a fool's errand. But anyway, thank you again. My name is Matt Cares with James Campbell Company. I'm here both with two of our development partners, also from James Campbell Company, Steve Kelly and Andy Starn from Kobayashi Group. Again, appreciate the opportunity tonight. And yeah, so here we are. We're here to provide an update on the Cove redevelopment project to reimagine Paradise Cove site as a modern gathering place rooted in Hawaiian culture, community access, and local opportunity. For those of you who are just joining us and learning about the project, I gave a little introduction so you kind of know where the project site is. We're just before the entrance to the Ko'olina Resort, just north of there and south of Kahe Power Plant. The site currently houses the nightly Paradise Cove Luau Show. But for those of you who have been following and been with us for almost a decade now in this process, from the start, the project's been shaped by what we heard from the community. So with this update, I want to start there. Slide, please. And I apologize, this is kind of small for those here in the room. But when we began this effort, this really was not just about new buildings. It's about reimagining a place that has long been a part of the community, but has not necessarily been accessible to everyone in the community. And so since 2017, we've been engaging in a robust outreach process, speaking with cultural leaders, residents, landowners, area lawmakers, businesses, and members of this board to understand what each of you envisioned for this site. And what we heard was clear, and that vision helped become our project mission. Slide, please. So reconnecting people to place, this comes right at the top. And so really after a generation of limited use, we're very excited to welcome our kama'aina and our visitors back to enjoy this property throughout the day, transforming a space that was once limited to an evening luau show into a welcoming place for all. We want to celebrate our Hawaiian culture. We want to create a space that acknowledges this special property's history as a gathering place for generations of Kama'aina, and creating a space that is truly for all of us. Gathering places, a best-in-class Hawaiian performing arts venue and show, and curated cultural experiences that are going to be weaved into the design and the project's programming. And this will include restaurants, retail, affordable and approachable options. We're designing this place where a local family can feel welcomed with these restaurants and shops that are approachable, affordable, and reflect Hawaii's unique taste and culture. And last but not least, job opportunities and economic empowerment. We're ensuring that this site is an opportunity for not just the development team and all those that we represent, but for our entire community. And that's with jobs in the near term, with over 900 construction jobs to help build this site up, as well as almost 500 full-time equivalent jobs to sustain the property and operations, in addition to opportunities for local artisans and performers to share their craft and their culture. Slide, please. Achieving this vision and delivering on this mission of creating this modern Hawaiian gatherings place requires a best-in-class team and best-in-class technical talent. For that reason, this is a joint effort between ourselves, James Campbell Company, Kobayashi Group, Black Sand Capital. Each of us brings deep experience in Hawaii real estate and a shared commitment to place-based and community-minded development, not just in Leeward, Oahu, but throughout the Hawaiian Islands. And it's not just us. We're supported by a team of Hawaii-based technical experts from archaeology, sea level rise, traffic, parking, acoustics. Each of us have helped shape this vision and are delivering the mission. Next slide, please. Now, given the site's proximity to the shoreline, accomplishing this vision and mission required a full environmental impact statement. We began this process in 2021. We've conducted over 12 technical studies, numerous community outreach meetings, solicited feedback through two public comment periods. And altogether, we're happy to report that on March 8th, the city accepted our final EIS and finding of no significant impact. And so what does that do? Next slide. That helps us with our permitting and helps us move the project forward to qualify for our special management area permit and our CUP. Before we get there, I want to thank your chair here for asking us to come back and just kind of highlight some of those key community concerns that were brought up in the EIS. And so we received over 100 comments, and each one of them were responded to individually in that document. And so right now, I just want to take a few moments to highlight and walk you through some of the top issues and how we address them. Next slide. Archaeology and cultural resources. We conducted a full archaeological inventory survey, developed a preservation plan, and coordinated with the state, SHPD and cultural descendants. A known cultural site is going to be permanently preserved in place. No burials will be disturbed. Additionally, we are committed to an archaeological monitoring plan during construction. Slide. Traffic and parking. And we know traffic is a major concern. Our traffic study found that the redeveloped site will generate fewer peak trips than the historical luau operation, especially as the new amphitheater is getting much smaller in size. And now compared to past operations, just to give you an example, past current operations, there's a current capacity of 1,200 guests per night at that show and those peak hours. We've intentionally downsized the venue to a maximum capacity of just over 600, but with an average expected capacity on a nightly basis of 300 to 400. Lastly, we're implementing a parking and management plan with shared valet staging, signage improvements, active parking monitoring, all of these to help decrease queuing on Ali'i Nui Drive, which was a major concern that was brought up to us. Next slide, please. And noise is another concern, particularly regarding the luau performances. The proposed amphitheater and how we're addressing this, like as I mentioned, that amphitheater is significantly smaller in footprint and scale with capacity reductions that will limit sound intensity. Furthermore, this purpose-built amphitheater, modern focused sound system project landscaping will together and the engineering involved in the new sound system will provide a buffer to reduce off-site sound. Lastly, of course, all events will be held within permitted hours and sound levels will be managed consistent with the city's noise ordinances. I'll quickly touch on sea level rise. We're certainly concerned and about sea level rise and resiliency, which is one of the reasons why we voluntarily are moving our entire development back an additional 15 feet. So as many of you know, the city requires us to observe a 60-foot setback, shoreline setback, but we're voluntarily adding 15 additional feet to help with that mitigation and long-term planning. Again, showing, as we are going to be a long-term owner and stakeholder out here, just our long-term commitment to the coast. Next slide. And lastly, visual and recreational access. So just kind of trying to keep with the low intensity use of the site. All the structures are low rise, single story buildings. Our lot coverage over 11 acres we're only covering about 13% of the lot and buildings. We're also having 30% of that lot will be landscaped with native and introduced species. So really trying to maintain an open thoroughfare environment. And when we get into some of the renderings, you'll see that in action. Next slide. So as I mentioned earlier, now that our EAS is complete, we're entering the final entitlement phase for the property. We're applying for both a special management area use permit and a conditional use permit. That SMA is required for any significant development in shoreline areas, and it's going to analyze some of these objectives, policies, and guidelines to make sure we're complying with those. And then the conditional use permit is required, although the property is already zoned for business and commercial use. We do need that's subject to condition in Article 5. So for the new amphitheater, even though there's an existing show use, we need to go through the CEP process for the amphitheater. And so although we're here at a public hearing tonight, I think many of you know that we have another public hearing that is specific to those permits on Monday in this same room at 10:30 in the morning. Next slide. So if approved, moving forward, just wanted to provide the community and the board with, one, how we got here over the last 5 years and then where we're going. And so really right now, we're right in the middle of this time frame. Our SMA and CEP applications are in. We've got our public hearing for tonight with the neighborhood board. We've got another public hearing scheduled on Monday to vet those permits. And then those permits are going to be processed and sent to the city council. And so for the public and the board, that's another chance to show your mana'o and provide input on the project, city council process. And kind of running in the background, we're still working on our designs and our construction drawings with an anticipated potential start of construction in 2026 that would go through 2027 with the project opening as soon as 2027, third or fourth quarter. Next slide. So this is the fun stuff. Promise you some fun stuff. So before we close, I wanted to share a few renderings to illustrate the project's vision and how it's been shaped by your input. So these visuals, to me, they help bring to life what we've been describing, a site that's open, welcoming, and grounded in Hawaiian culture. So we'll walk through now and share a few of these elements. Next slide. I'm teeing off here with our Hawaiian performing arts venue. We're designing and envisioning this as a world-class outdoor venue to bring to the West Side for hula, mele, storytelling, all with the goal of supporting local artists and cultural programming in a dedicated space that's appropriately scaled for the environment and takes advantage of the natural beauty of our West Side sunsets. Next slide. What we're dubbing now as the Village Walk is a walkable open air retail experience running through the center of the project, focusing on local connection. This will be thoughtfully curated, small shops, pop-up opportunities featuring local made goods, crafts, and everyday essentials for our community. Next slide. And I'll end here with our rendering of our restaurants and gathering spaces. So this is We've got one of our entertainment areas here on the left, and then what you're seeing here is the plan looking towards the cove and towards the rest of what is Ko'olina. And so with this, to me, this highlights our intentional design. You've got an experience between different uses and spaces that are effortlessly connected. It's a place where you and your family can enjoy a meal at an open air restaurant, meet up with friends, or just relax on the lawn and listen to local musicians Kani Kapila as the sun sets. To us, this is what a modern Hawaiian gathering place looks like and should feel like: open, welcoming, and rooted in kind of all the rhythms of local life. And so with that, next slide, please. Just want to say mahalo for letting us share our vision with all of you tonight. We're extremely proud of this work, and we're a part of the community, and we remain committed to that open communication with you, with our community members. You can go back to the other slide. Yeah, I'll bow. And we're happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Mahalo for the presentation. Almost as good as the Ho'ike for the Merry Monarch. Okay.
Yes.
Any questions, comments, concerns from the board? Chair recognizes Second Vice Chair Dr. Keone Dudley.
Is this going to be in the same place that the cove is right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The building of the shops is a concern to me. The reason is I think that you're probably planning on the Atlantis Hotel being there and their people coming to your shops. And I do think we're going to have a major, major fight against the Atlantis Hotel. And I do not think there's any possibility in the world that it's going to be there in the future. So I just would like to tell you folks that, you know, if that's the plan, know that you're in for a real fight. Okay.
No, I appreciate that, Dr. Dudley. And I think, yeah, to be fair, like certainly we want tourists to come and enjoy the property, but from all of our outreach and all of our work and all of our underwriting, this is really a space for local people to bring their families and enjoy. It's been by virtue of the ground lease and being tied to a nightly luau show for a generation, it hasn't been that. And we're really excited about the opportunity to take the property back and open it up to the public. So that's our commitment, and that's who the property is marketed for.
Good, thank you.
Chair recognizes Board Member Moon Kahele.
Wonderful presentation. I've heard a lot of all your vendors who you're going to use. I'm kind of a no collar, blue collar kind of guy. Are you going to use local trades and union members and local workers, so to speak?
I appreciate it, Uncle Moon. Yeah, certainly. And I mentioned earlier, it takes a village. It takes a village of highly skilled developers, technical consultants, but it also takes all of our trades and our friends in the trades to help make it happen. You know, I can speak for us as an organization, as well as Kobayashi and Black Sand have always been committed. And I, you know, let some of the members that are here tonight speak to that commitment.
Mahalo. Chair recognizes Dr. Amy Bosler.
Thank you. You had spoken about you wanting this to be a place for locals and local families to come and gather. What kind of parking are you anticipating having? Because right now, that's been for 20 years a huge problem in Ko'olina. There are beach accesses, but it's almost inaccessible for most people because the lots are so tiny. And then there's the one at Lagoon 4 that is big, but you have to get there extra early or pay $20 for parking. So just wondering if this is for local working people to come and enjoy, where are they parking?
Yeah, great question. Actually, Curtis, if I can ask you to pull the presentation back up. I think it's the next slide after. Yeah, that one. Yeah, site plan. Thank you. Yeah, so this is this is a kind of backlog. This is our site plan. So we're providing over 440 parking spaces. So they're not only the parking spaces you see striped in this plan, but we have an easement over neighboring Maniko Honua that includes 203, 205 spaces that are just off plan right in grayscale. And so together that gets you over 400 spaces. And certainly, how that's going to be managed is huge in terms of right now we are envisioning paid parking. I think there's going to be tiers, in terms of like come on at discount, something like that. But also managing it so that, one, we do have a natural cove as opposed to the man-made ones. So we don't want to overwhelm that. We want people to come and enjoy it, but we don't want to overwhelm the resource. So it is a little bit of a balancing act. And some of that's going to get fleshed out. We've certainly studied various options in the EIS and in our SMA application. But, like anything, it's going to come down to opening the doors and then, having the flexibility to, with the right consultants, we're working with the lead parking to help us find out how to manage this the best way possible to increase that circulation, but also make people feel like they're welcome on site.
Thank you. It would be very beneficial for the local community though, to be able to have access to free parking to get.
And right now there's 15 spaces for free that are.
That's not really access to free parking. Sorry. But
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes First Vice Chair Michaela Linstone.
Mahalo, Matt. 3 questions, although I think the parking one got answered, but will there still be access to the beach for the public?
Yeah. So there's an existing easement that runs between Lani Kuhunua and what's now Paradise Cove. That's not going away. That's staying there. So shoreline access, I guess what you call your vertical shoreline access from Elite Inui Drive is going to be maintained. And then of course you have your horizontal shoreline access running along the beach.
Second question, will there be a public restroom?
Yes, there's going to be a public restroom and shower facilities, both your foot shower and your regular shower, beach shower. Yeah, so people can, come off the beach and not be all salty when they want to go eat or just hang out.
And then last question, more of a comment. The new tree or the coconut tree is really symbolic in Lani Kuhunua. When you walk in, it feels like the ancestors are just there. And I know James Campbell Company is very generous in giving to our schools and our community. And I hope with this project that if there's a give back, I hope that one of the give backs is to really combat coconut rhinoceros beetle. I think it would be a really strong message to our community that we're going to fight this, and that, and that you're doing that, I think would really kind of lift the spirits, because many of us within the community, we're losing our coconut trees. But Lani Kuhunua, we still see yours up, so.
No, I appreciate that. That's going to take more than a village. It's going to take more than an island. So, it's something we're very sensitive to. I think there's definitely over 80 coconut trees at Lani Kuhunua, and together with, we call the Cove redevelopment property, we're trying to save as many, we're already there now, trying to save as many of those trees as possible. So together there's about 200 coconut trees across that 20 acres. And so I appreciate you bringing it up. It's something that's, we're very sensitive to.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, any question or comments from the community on the presentation? Okay. Just making note, this is questions or comments on the presentation, not on whether or not the board is taking a position yet. Okay. Seeing no others on the presentation at this time, without objection, I'm asking the board members to move up board business 6D.
Pardon me, Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Oh, sorry, Uncle Frank, we didn't see the hands online. Yes, you have a question. Go right ahead. It's for the presentation.
Yes, actually, my question is for Member Dudley. I'd just like to know the rationale behind the expected fight against the Atlantis Resort.
Okay. Thanks to you, Uncle Frank, for the question, but it's not on the agenda at this time, so we can take that offline. Okay. Okay.
Mr.
Margaret Casillas, go right ahead. Online, question or comment on the presentation. Margaret, if you're saying something, we can't hear you. Okay, we'll come back to you, Margaret. Let's go now to Val Tuiloma. Question comment on the presentation. Go ahead.
Chair, this may sound really dumb, but I've gone to Kolina with my ohana and how many times my children burn. And security comes and says we have to put down our umbrellas. Is that same rule gonna apply for you folks and the beach access? Are you folks gonna have security come out there and, you know, tell people they have to close umbrellas and this and that? Like, are there specific things that the locals are gonna have to follow?
Hi Val, thanks for the question. I can't speak for the rules at the lagoons, but I kind of touched on it earlier. Unlike the lagoon, this is a natural cove, and so it's state beach, so there aren't going to be, you know, we can't impose any rules on that premises that is part of the beach, because that's state land, public land. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's try again with Margaret Casillas. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Okay, no. Okay, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Leslie Keating. I was going to ask about the performance space, and I work with the Kapolei High School band and marching band. Probably wouldn't be a marching band, but we're always looking for concert space. We are doing a show, May 4th, at the Kroc Center. But regardless of that, with the parking situation, it seems like it would be a nice venue. Usually our crowd is anywhere between 200 and 400, depending on how many parents and families show up. But parking, I guess, would be our bigger concern there because we don't want to overcharge our families. And is that something that's going to be available for like community use? Just because we don't have a lot of venues like that on the west side. And I know we'd like to have something.
Yeah, appreciate the question. And thank you for bringing that up. In our community outreach, and I'm sorry we didn't specifically touch the Kapolei High School band, but we did speak to folks from Nanakuli High School, for example, and they expressed for the performing arts. I mean, again, like I said, we're bringing a world-class facility and technology to this outdoor venue, and you know, programming is something, and community givebacks is something that we're in a discussion on, but certainly would love to be able to support. You know, and we've been a big support of Kapolei High School in the past, and we'd love to talk to you after to see how we can support you guys with this great facility.
Any other questions? Community member Uluko Dahansalan.
Just got a comment. Thank you for I did a site visit as a to give feedback, some cultural and community feedback. And I apologize that I haven't seen the report. You folks are very welcoming, showing us around as a community. I don't know how much of it was incorporated, so that's what I would like to find out. For example, there's salt pans as part of the archaeological sites there. And so in making that place a living cultural, you know, place, bringing back the culture, it would be good to show that salt pans in action. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I remember you guys saying you guys wasn't gonna damage that. I mean, there's other things with the inland pond, natural pond that used to exist, but anyways, that's that. But also, it's just a breath of fresh air that Ko'olina does not have a monopoly anymore. And so I would highly, highly encourage to make as much of that parking really accessible, like most other state parks. And like, if you can, just don't charge. You know, charge a tourist, charge the people from Ko'olina. How's that? But not charge the rest of us, you know. But anyways, that would be a really good one, right? And then you might want to consider talking to the Hawaiian Railway and ask them to put a stop right in front of you guys, so you guys get that extra traffic over there. But that's all. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments from the community members? Okay. Come on down.
No comment. And Margita was trying to reach you, had just rebooted her computer. She was having computer issues. Can you check again to see if she's, thank you.
Sure thing. Margit Casillas, are you with us now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can hear you now.
Ah, okay. My
Go ahead.
apologies. My apologies for that. So, I'm speaking tonight in my capacity as the president of the Kailani AOAO Board of Directors, as well as a member of the Kailani community for 18 years. In the past year, we have had the opportunity to express our concerns about the proposed Cove development in public forums like this one, in letters to the Department of Permitting and Planning, and directly with members of the Cove team. While we appreciate the communications outreach from the Cove team, we do not feel that our core concerns have been adequately or specifically addressed in the EIS that was approved by DPP in March. We at Kailani are the closest neighbors to the Cove property, and as such, we are asking for serious commitments from the Cove team in addressing our concerns. Our primary concerns include the relocation of the amphitheater and anticipated increase in amplified sound and crowd noise, the expansion of the physical footprint and the subsequent expected increase in vehicle traffic directly outside Kailani, inadequate parking plans, as others have mentioned, potential negative impacts to surrounding properties, including both Kailani and preservation land from increased foot traffic, and noise, dust, and negative visual impacts to surrounding properties during the demolition and construction periods. We are currently crafting a letter outlining all of our concerns in depth and proposing strategies that we would like to see adopted. That letter will be delivered to the Cove representatives by Monday, April 28th. It is our hope that we can initiate a working dialogue that will result in firm commitments from the Cove team that acknowledge the significant impacts of this project. And again, as the closest neighbors to the Cove on the Coalina property, we call upon the Cove team to respond to our concerns with firm commitments to ensure that we can coexist in a cooperative and respectful way. Thank you for your time.
Mahalo for your concerns being raised. Any other community member wishing to raise a concern or ask questions about the presentation? Come on down.
Hi. Hi, aloha. Good evening, Chair Paris and the board. My name is Jeannie Timotel, and I am a community case manager for Council Member Andrew Tupola. So I am going to be reading a statement. I believed I emailed you guys this statement already, and I apologize for the earlier, but the second one was the correct one. So bear with me while I read this statement. As the City Council member representing the West Oahu, I submit the following comments on the presentation for Cove redevelopment. I urge the Campbell Estates to increase the number of public beach parking stalls from 15 to at least 20. The current and proposed totals are inadequate given to the consistent daily demand. While the lot is on Lani Kuahonua land and the beach is smaller than Ko'olina Lagoons, that does not change the reality. Families are constantly waiting in line for limited parking access. I also request that the following community protections and improvements be included. 1, expanded public parking beyond the minimum required to offset the known strain that this project will place on the surrounding infrastructure. 2, a permanent comfort station to serve beachgoers and reduce impacts surrounding public spaces. 3, mitigation plans for noise and traffic to reduce amplified noise and congestion in the area. I encourage Campbell and Estates to work closely with the community to ensure this project moves forward in a way that respects local needs and preserves public access. I know a lot was answered. I was required to ensure that the statement was read. So if you have any other questions, feel free to go ahead and email me or let me know before you leave. Mahalo.
Mahalo for the Councilwoman's statement. Any other questions, comments, or concerns on the presentation? Okay. Now, without objection, the chair would like to bring board business 6D, the position on the SMA major permit number 2025 SMA 19 and the conditional use permit major permit number 2025 CUP 4 for the Cove redevelopment project, and authorizing the chair to send the letter to DPP to the fore. Is there any objection to bringing that up from board members? Seeing no objection, No, wonderful community. We have the ability to provide public testimony. So all those that wish to speak for or against the project are welcome to the mic.
Does that include me?
Aloha Board and Chair. My name is Justin Tenoy. I'm the Executive Director for the Hawaii Operating Engineers Stabilization Fund. I'm here to testify in strong support of this project. This project, of course, as you heard, brings a lot of jobs to the construction industry, which will serve a lot of our members, right? And a lot of our members, hundreds if not thousands, live right here in this community. So they can work right here in their community to help build something for this great local community. And we also believe it's so great because it's gonna provide a lot of permanent jobs once this job's completed. As well as on top of that, we'll see a lot of millions of dollars just coming into the economy and staying within the economy, within the locals. So again, I testify in strong support as our strong Local 3 union members have been treated well with James Campbell, and we'll be working on this job.
Mahalo for your testimony. Anyone else wishing to testify on this?
Good evening, Chair, Parish, and board members. My name is Anatuya Sosopo. I am the leader of Operating Engineers, District Rep. I'm the officer of our 4 states of California, Utah, Nevada, and Hawaii. We have 40,000 members. We have 3,100 members here living in Oahu. 70% of our members live on the west side. And you guys know, you guys always hear the story, people getting priced out of paradise. And I'm tired of hearing that. You know, I want to make sure that you guys do support this project. This project will give our local people jobs, you know, and, you know, we are the middle class. And I think, you know, this project will really help our people. So, you know, Justin Tenoy is our executive director on the stabilization side. So he kind of explained what we do, but I am the president also of the Construction Alliance and also building trade. So we have a lot of union members, and I'm grateful to Campbell to use all our union workers, and that's the commitment we got from them. So thank you. And can you guys change you guys' meeting to earlier, past my bedtime? Thank you.
Mahalo for the testimony. Anyone else wishing to provide testimony, please come to the mic.
Sure. Aloha, Chair Paris, members of the board. Hane Matsonga III. I am the Deputy Political Director for Operating Engineers Local 3. I'd like to reiterate what my boss and my colleagues have said about supporting this. On a personal note, way back in the day, in the early 2000s, when I just graduated college, my first job in tourism was working as a sales account executive for Paradise Cove. And I remember doing that for about a year. And one thing that I would have to drive out from Waikiki, go and host Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays or whoever was on a fam tour, was that it was all tourists. There was no locals on this day. This is a great opportunity to integrate more of the local business into the area. I'm excited for you. I understand parking is an issue. I would have to come back, and that was hard. Even for me working there, I still had to find parking. So I think that's a very legitimate issue, and I'm sure the developer will be working with you folks on that. But there's a great example of how this will help the local community. So out there on the North Shore and Polynesian Cultural Center, they opened up the marketplace right next to it. And that's all filled with local vendors. That's community coming in, doing fundraisers, performances, allowing tourism economy to start trickling down to the local businesses. And I see this as a great opportunity for local businesses to make some money, to help have money stay in the community, not just on the tourism side. So I'm very excited about this. I think this is a great idea. This is a great project. Brings back the local community, especially for those at the restaurant right now. You can either eat at the hotel or you can go across the street to Monkey Pond. That's it. That's the only option. Bringing it out to local vendors, that's great. That helps everyone. Thank you.
Mahalo. Anyone else wishing to testify?
Aloha, my name is Juan Padastal Jr.
I'm a proud member of the Hawaii Regional Council of Carpenters. I strongly support the Cove project because it will bring a real economic boost to our community. During construction alone, we're expected to create over 800 full-time jobs. And that's not just a number. That's hundreds of local workers like me staying busy, supporting our families, and keeping our local economy moving. Projects like this help our industry stay strong and give union workers a chance to build Hawaii the right way, with quality, safety, and pride. The Cove is an example of responsible development that puts local jobs first, and I hope you will support it too. Thank you.
Mahalo. Come on up.
Good evening, board. My name is Fred Tamayo. I'm here to speak today in strong support of the Cove. Well, the Cove will bring, besides construction job, it will bring more of the future as the jobs are, this Cove is completed already. I brought my daughter here today to witness what's happening with this project. And she's pretty much the future of this. So it will implement more jobs, dining and entertainment at this facility when this Cove is built. As she and other children, they are the future. I think the Cove will bring more opportunities for our children. Thank you.
Mahalo. Anyone else wishing to testify?
Good evening, Chair, board members, members of the community. My name is Dion Kalaola, and I will keep this brief. A lot of the testifiers before me, along with Matthew, already covered a lot of key points. But I'm here in support of the Cove. But it is more than just a commercial project. It's a place that invites the community. For too long, this area has only been used for limited events. But if this project moves forward, we will see development of open public spaces that celebrate Hawaiian culture and foster community connection. Aside from the retail space, restaurants, the plans for an amphitheater, culture pavilion, and an activity launch area designed for workshops, performances, and gatherings. This is the kind of investment that respects the land, honors the history, and gives local a meaningful place to gather. I believe the Cove strikes a good balance between economic growth and cultural stewardship, and this is why I support the Cove. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to publicly testify? Come on down.
Hi, my name is Leslie Keating again, and I am a resident. I just wanted to show my support for this project and hoping that it goes through and that we get strong local businesses that eventually occupy those areas. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to testify online or in person? Going once, going twice, going three. Okay. Under the wire.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chairs, members of the board, members of the community. My name is Mark Anthony Clemente. I'm here on behalf of the Hawaii Regional Council of Carpenters. We represent over 6,000 hardworking men and women in the trade. And we support this project. We support the Cove redevelopment. To us, it's more than just a commercial project. It's really an opportunity to revitalize a historically significant area here in the leeward coast of Oahu. It honors the past, creates a sustainable, community-driven future. And like my colleague Dion mentioned earlier, this area has been limited to exclusive events. And now this redevelopment project really opens that up to residents and visitors alike. From an economic and workforce perspective, again, the benefits are clear and compelling. You have nearly 1,000 full-time jobs, construction jobs during that phase, and then nearly 500 long-term permanent jobs once the project's completed. The project's expected to generate over $100 million in total economic output, as well as $54 million in labor income during its construction period. Now, these aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. This is reality. This is local jobs, stable careers. These are the kind of opportunities that will help local families thrive here on the West Coast. Especially in times of economic uncertainty, a responsive, project team who listens to the community and really takes into consideration their concerns, I think is the type of project we need to support. And so in summary, we support this project and we hope you do too. Thank you.
Any other ones? Anyone else wishing to publicly testify on this matter? Okay, seeing none. Now let's go to discussion, and the chair recognizes Dr. Keone Dudley. Now we can talk.
I'll pass.
Okay. Any other discussion from fellow board members? Seeing none. Okay. Just a question then I have for the James Campbell representative. Our board passed in January a resolution calling for a moratorium on all development unless the project actually addresses wildfire mitigation. So is there a wildfire mitigation plan in part of your current planning process?
Yeah, no, thank you, Chair. I'll answer this by saying it actually goes broader than the Cove. Yeah, as many of you know, we're legacy landowners still of many of the large properties in and around Kapolei and Makakilo. And we've been going through an intense wildfire mitigation approach, actually, frankly, before the Lahaina fires, but that's only kind of amped things up. And so our approach covers not only the Cove, but it covers the entire watershed that we control. And in coordination, and we're working with other landowners, gill level lands, et cetera, that are above Palihua Road. And so, yeah, I would say, and also our holdings right adjacent to Kapolei West. So it's kind of a more holistic approach that helps answer the question. Yeah.
Mahalo. Any further discussion from board members? Okay. Seeing none, given the sentiment of the board's conversations and community concerns, the chair is making a recommendation that we do support the current permitting requested as noted, but would like to add in the letter that the chair will author the concerns that are still remaining that our community members have raised. Those concerns was request for dialogue with the immediate neighbors regarding dust and noise and long-term parking and visual concerns that they still have. Second, that I would recommend that we echo and support the call for 20 public parking spaces along with our councilwoman, at least from the 15. Yes.
Chair, sorry, I wasn't, oh, there it is. The Poly Lookout has that system in place now that it's free Kama'aina parking and then the tourists have to pay. So could we possibly have that in our letter that we would request free Kama'aina parking and charge the tourists? Thank you.
Okay. So, so to the question, yes, the recommendation continues. Since we are on parking, is free Kama'aina parking, or if not free, subsidized, particularly for local cultural event usage. So like if the schools are going to be having an event, if you cannot be free because it doesn't pencil out all the time, can we be free or subsidized for their annual event that they're doing there as a community give back? Speaking about community give back, we also have the request that they consider helping with doing their part with CRB, with the Coconut Rhinoceros Beetle on their property, also including our call for our resolution that they consider Hawaiian sustainable landscapes, which we've heard, but we have a list of particular plants for consideration, and also acknowledging the need for wildfire mitigation plan. And what else am I missing? What else you guys like? And also echoing the concern for a publicly accessible comfort station to be used. Okay. Is there any additions board members would like to recommend in the letter? Yes, Dr. Dudley.
Well, you know, my concern about traffic and my concern about traffic is my reason for opposing the Atlantis development. I do think that we need to say somehow that we're not supporting them if they're depending on the development of Atlantis.
So in light of Dr. Dudley's concern and also hearing what the community have heard earlier, that the venues and the vendors would be locally owned or local products, that there be a preference for that, and also in conditioning it on the fact that the venues need to be affordable for a local working class family that has an operating engineer or carpenter's job. Like if they cannot take their family there, then this is the wrong clientele. Does that address the concern? Got to be local preference for products and local ownership or vendors. And got to be affordable to a local working class family or go. Yes, member.
One more, sorry. So you asked for a wish list.
Of course.
Also, please, can we have in the letter that we strongly encourage, again, instead of bringing in more introduced species, that they try to focus the majority on native indigenous species and also the protection of the site-specific. I'm sorry, I'm blanking, it's late, the name of that specific plant that is endangered. Thank you.
So the only thing that was added was from our current resolution on Hawaiian sustainable landscapes is if there are naturally occurring endemic or endangered species that are known to have been there, even if they're not there, that they encourage their reintroduction. Okay. We good with our wish list? We good with our wish list, community?
Chair, I'd like to move to adopt your letter with.
Okay, so it's been moved to adopt general support for the current point in the process, right? Which is for the SMA major permit number 2025, SMA 19, and conditional use permit, major permit 2025 CUP 4 for the Cove redevelopment project. And a letter will be sent to the Department of Planning and Permitting, outlining the suggestions that we have for the Cove teams for consideration as they move forward, including dialogue with the neighbors on noise and dust and sound, increasing public parking to 20, having free or subsidized parking for locals and especially for school events, making sure that local working families can actually afford to go to the venues, that they preference
Mr.
local
Chair.
ownership.
We gotta go on.
Yeah, that was the second. Okay, so it's been moved and second. Any discussion? Member Munkahele? Okay, that's the third. Okay. Is there any objection? Hearing and seeing none, chair calls it unanimous. Okay, great. Now we get back to the regular presentations. And the regular presentations for this evening, looking at the time, noting that it is 9:43, the chair will ask without objection that all of the rest of the board business be deferred until next meeting. Any objections? Seeing none. Every other board business is deferred. The last presentation of this evening is to allow our community members present online and via Olelo to hear from potential the candidates for your neighborhood board. And we will start that this evening with Dr. Amy Bosler, if you wish to make a statement. Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to have time for everybody. And so I would like to see the people who are not on the board be first.
Okay, is there any objection from the board for preferring any of the members that are not on the board first to speak? Okay, seeing none. Let's
Chair.
see, who here would like to speak? I saw that, I saw Sheila. I saw Carol. Anyone in person that would like to speak now? That, come on down.
Because of
We-
the time, could we also limit it to a minute for each of us?
Okay,
Is that,
without objection, candidate speeches will now be limited to a minute. Except the new people. Okay, without objection, all of us only 1 minute and the new people have up to 2. Go right ahead, Ed, start us off.
Good evening, board and community. My name is Thad Sprague. I certainly don't feel like a new board member. I've served, I looked it up earlier tonight. The first board meeting I attended was in 2009, which is more than 15 years ago. I have served on the board almost every year since then. Currently, I'm not a board member, but I am on all 3 of the committees. I've served as treasurer, I've served as vice chair, first chair, vice chair, second vice chair. I've run the meetings. I've worn all the hats. I bring a wealth of experience to the neighborhood board. I would very much like to get elected back onto the board so that I can continue to support our community. 2 main focuses that I would work on would be the Makakilo Drive extension, and the other thing that I like to work on is education. So those are my 2 ideas, but I'm open to whatever the community wants us to fight for, and would go from there. So thank you. Please vote for me. Thanks.
Mahalo, Ed. Okay, any of the other members present that are running? Okay, going online. Do we have any of the members? Raise your hand if you wish to speak at this time. Okay, Carol England, go right ahead. You got 2 minutes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kara England, but I have a nickname. It's Kara. I was born and raised in Waimanalo until I was 12 years old. I finished my middle school, high school, and college on the East Coast. However, back in 1990, I went back home to Waimanalo to take care of my grandparents at that time. However, I've been living in Kapolei for the past 21 years. Returning after more than a decade away was a deeply moving experience. Being back reminded me what makes Hawaii so special. Family connection, the connection to the land, and the values that shape my way of life. However, over the last 30 years, I have dedicated my time in serving the people of Hawaii. I have helped organizations supporting the homeless, assisting those living in homeless shelters, as well as on the streets. In 2020, I launched the Radical Hale Outreach with Aloha. It is a nonprofit still unfunded, providing essential services, supplies, and support. Our efforts focus on medical and housing navigation, ultimately helping individuals transition from streets into safe and stable housing. In addition, I've helped Domestic Violence Action Center women and who are survivors of domestic violence. I helped with their fundraisers, giving supplies to the women, things like school supplies and Christmas presents to the women and children who live in their shelters. Just a little side note, in 2002, I founded Hawaii's first cancer care massage program dedicating to providing comfort to individuals undergoing chemotherapy. To date, I have provided over 5,000 massage sessions, all free of charge, to those living with cancer. In recognition of this work, Senator Mike Gabbard honored us with a certificate of appreciation for the community work in 2007, signed by the entire Senate for the impact those services have had on the lives of cancer patients in our community. Giving back has always been at the heart of who I am. I remain committed to making a positive impact wherever I can. I am running for the Makakilo Kapolei Honokai Hale Neighborhood Board as a natural extension of my commitment to community service. As our area continues to grow, we must ensure that the development is thoughtfully balanced with infrastructure improvements that enhance public safety and quality of life. Our community deserves proactive leadership, one that listens, unites, and advocates for the needs of our residents. Thank you.
Mahalo. Okay, at this time, we'll call out names to see if anyone is willing or able to present. Anna Odom. Dan Hare. Sheila Maderas.
Aloha. I'm just going to read
Aloha.
my prepared statement. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sheila Maderas, and I'm pleased to introduce myself as a candidate for the neighborhood board. I served 34 years in the military, retiring as an Army Lieutenant Colonel with 4 deployments to Afghanistan and 1 to Iraq. I could mention degrees or accolades, but what truly defines me is being a mom and a grandmother. Titles don't shape who I am. My focus is on serving others, letting my actions speak for themselves. I coordinate the Hawaii Food Bank Drive at Kapolei High School each month, and it's rewarding to see the smiles of those we help with food and support. As a gardener, I value nurturing the earth and envision more green spaces for our community. Second City is growing, and we need places where neighbors can connect, share laughter, music, or just spend time together. Community gardens and open spaces can bring us closer, and I'd be honored to support that balance amid new developments. The Neighborhood Board is a vital hub for our community's news and needs. It's our role to share that information beyond these walls, ensuring everyone, even those who can't attend, stays informed. An informed community fosters understanding and unity. I enjoy meeting people, sharing smiles, and making a difference. And I'd welcome the chance to help carry this board's work, its plans, challenges, and discoveries to every part of our neighborhood. I humbly ask for your support to create a greener, more connected community. Thank you for considering me. Aloha.
Mahalo. Continuing with other candidates, Melvin Dizon. Raymond Ma'ai. Okay. Seeing no. Okay. Did I miss anyone that's not currently serving? Seeing none, we get to go down the line, starting with Dr. Dudley, if you would like to say anything.
I would just like to say that I've been on the board for 27 years now. I do come with an awful lot of history, an awful lot of knowledge of the history of this area. I'm a strong advocate for saving the things that are important for the future, like the farmland, preparing for hurricanes. I am concerned about traffic, especially for the people on the West Coast, and the lineup of traffic that we already have in the afternoon. And I will continue to fight, and I thank you for your vote.
Now to Board Member Monica Hele.
Aloha. Thank you very much for the opportunity of being on the board all these years. I am up for re-election, and whether I get re-elected or not, I will still support this board. There's a lot of talented men and women on the board, as well as on the candidate profiles. You can read my profile, it speaks for itself. I'm a no-color kind of a guy. I'm not afraid to, jump in there with you and make things happen, as we've done on this board. Thank you once again, and I continue to ask to keep my voice on the board.
Mahalo. Dr. Amy Bosler.
Hi, good evening. My name is Dr. Amy Bosler. I am currently the Secretary of Neighborhood Board 34. I am also up for re-election. I am a huge proponent for public schools and care very deeply about our Hawaiian immersion programs. I will be writing a resolution for the next board meeting on preserving and protecting our marine national monuments, so both the remote Pacific Islands and the Papahānaumokuakea Monument. I also have restarted the 4-H Agricultural Club, Mauna Lavea, at the UH Urban Garden Center. But I am, most importantly, I'm a military spouse and I am a mom of 2. I'm an and I've been honored to be on this board. I would like to continue serving my community, serving our community, and leading with compassion for all of our members. Thank you.
Now to Board Member Mick Ferrera.
I'm Mick Ferrera. I'm a state employee in conservation, and I joined the board back around 2017 because I wanted to keep a fire lit under the elected officials to get the Makakilo Drive completion done. And also, as our population has grown, the streets around us, I've advocated for traffic lights and speed tables and things like that. We had our crosswalks taken away on Makakilo Drive, and there's speed tables all over the island, but there's none on Makakilo Drive. I thought I'd be done with this by the time I turned 60 and could turn it over to someone else. I'm now 61. Frank Genadio is now 96, so I figure he's been at it a lot longer than I have, and we'll probably name it after him if it ever gets built. But I'm in the middle of keeping this thing going, so if I get reelected, I can continue the fight or the negotiation to try to get it done. So thank you for your time and your vote.
Hello, next is First Vice Chair Mikiela Lindstone.
Mahalo nui. Aloha nui kako. I'm Mikiela Lidstone. We live in a community that's growing, and that's super, super exciting because as residents, we have an opportunity to be part of processes that shape this community into the place that we envision for our families, for the health and well-being of our families. And to be a part of this space is really a powerful and really exciting force in making that happen. It's been a great honor to serve on this board, and I look forward to continuing to serve, whether it be on this board or whether it be as a participant. Mahalo.
Mahalo. And now for myself. Okay. My name is Anthony Melvin Makana Paris. I hail from the west side of Oahu, born and raised in Nanakuli. I am a Golden Sunshine. I am a warrior from Kamehameha and from UH. I am a beaver from MIT, and I'm a buck from Santa Clara. So what does that mean? It's like I am overly educated, as my parents would say, and hopefully some of their common sense rubbed off. I've had the honor and privilege of serving on this board for a few years and as your chair. And I would like to note some of the highlights of my current career is with my fellow colleagues because they've inspired me, and this period of time we've been more prolific with articulating our vision through resolutions than ever before in our history. So thank you to Dr. Keone Dudley for putting us forward and actually calling out all of the natural disaster issues that we're facing, including hurricanes before Lahaina wildfires happen, and promulgating our call for having all of these experts come into our community and share with us during that wonderful session about natural disasters and how we can prepare as individuals and how our society can be prepared if we enact good policy. And awesome that he put his own money towards creating a video on that went live on TV across the islands. To our member Moon Kaihale, he's been the face that everyone calls whenever there's issues in for our community. So he's been here to be able to answer all of the questions from all of the different reporters when myself and Mikiela is not available. So mahalo Uncle Moon for always being there to step in whenever we needed somebody to actually share something from the board. For Dr. Bosler, her advocacy has been pushed through that we actually put forward a resolution calling for equitable and living wages for our educators. We're the only neighborhood board that I know that took a position on that and actually got legislation passed that moved forward actually some of the resources for our educators, not to where it needs to be, but more than where it was. For our member Nick Ferrera, him and Uncle on top of the Transportation Committee, has fought the good fight for Makakilo Drive extension, but in specific, what they've done and achieved is they got the city to commit to another EA on their dime. That is one large step that we haven't had for decades. And to my fearless left hand, Mikiela Lindstone, her advocacy for our community, for making sure that we are place-based, that we remember that this place is not a museum of Hawaiian artifacts, but it is a living and breathing place where Kanaka Hawaii live and will flourish with our visitors and friends for generations to come. And the work that she has done in order to actually help us move forward and name and get Kapolei Regional Park to where it needs to be, including Pu'o Kapolei, and actually the resolution moving forward in the Democratic Party right now, championed by her, in order to actually name it as a community garden, because we have none in Leeward, Oahu. So all I have to say is that I can do the work that I do without actually supporting them. They're the ones and you're the ones that make my work possible, because all I'm here to do is facilitate and empower, and you all giving me the ability to do that. So mahalo. And thank you for voting for me. And if you put me back in, you'll have more of my shenanigans work on. Okay, aloha. With that, we now go to member requests for future agenda items in the last minute. With Dr. Amy Balzer going first and then Dr. Keone Dudley next.
Sorry, really quickly. I would like to request that a resolution be put on our next agenda for supporting our Pacific Islands Heritage Marine National Monument, and also a resolution supporting the protection of Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument. And also always looking for anyone to help me co-author if you feel so moved.
Okay,
Thank you.
noted and invited. Dr. Dudley.
Sure. You share?
Tiare Ta'ala, you want to share something? Sorry, forgot you.
I was, but that's okay because we're at 10 o'clock, so you can
Okay.
read my bio.
Oh, well.
Sorry.
Dr. Dudley.
I would like to see the special meeting of the 3 neighborhood boards put up for a vote next meeting. And also, I would like to suggest that we move move ourselves and the depiction on the wall. I think if we put it up there, the people from over here could see it. I think that we ought to be moving on to the side again over there. I also think that we got to find some way to make it bigger so that we can read it. It's just, it was crazy today that the whole presentation about buses was just completely lost. So.
Okay, mahalo. Thank you for the agenda items and the administrative requests. Any other requests for the agenda at this time? Seeing none, going to board announcements. The next scheduled meeting for the Makakila Kapolei Hunakai Hale Neighborhood Board will be on Wednesday, May 28, 2025 at 7 p.m. at Kapolei Hale Conference Rooms A and B and online via WebEx. Reminder, the 2025 Neighborhood Board elections are going to go live Friday, April 25th, 2025. Voting begins. May 16th, voting ends. And the 23rd deadlines for ballots postmarked no later than that Monday, May 19th will be received. For more information, check out the city's website. And finally, the city and county of Honolulu with our neighborhood board assistant Curtis is collecting canned goods for the food bank. So if anyone would like to donate, please bring. Okay. Mahalo nui loa. You guys have a wonderful evening. The meeting is adjourned.